March Madness is right around the corner, but the real madness was the NHL Trade Deadline, and woo, we will get into that a little bit later. Hello and welcome back to The House That Happens, sponsored by Schuey's Bar and Grill, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke, voted 4 times the best dive bar in all the GTA, #1 in our hearts, the Phoenix rising from the ashes. Hi, I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name's Cruz. How you doing, buddy?
Good, how about yourself?
Outstanding, outrageous, catalysmic. That's just how I roll. You know what I mean?
Nice. How's your week?
My week was outstanding. I'm just going to tell my son really quickly before he decides to take a $800 round trip to see a guy in a bar by yourself in LA is pretty outrageous, but he didn't do it. My son, like, we're music people, you know what I mean? He goes, Dad, I was going to pull the trigger for 1 month from now. I'm going to go to LA, see Ben Kenny in a club. I thought, that's cruising. If you know who we are, it's cruising. So anyways, it's inspired me to renew my passport. That's my number one thing. So how's your week?
Not bad. Happy to be here, though.
Still a little bit cold outside, everybody. Yeah. And it's so cold outside that it's permeated the environments of everybody's house in Canada because there's so much to talk about considering the present situation about our economy. But we're going to say we're proud to be Canadian and we're going to rise above it and hope for the best.
Absolutely. And one of our first shout-outs here is Our Lady Peace. I went to go see them in Oshawa on Wednesday night. Put on a tremendous show. Had Winter Sleep and Collective Soul opening for them.
That's a hell of a bill. I didn't even know, because I know Collective Soul, a lot of people said might have even stole the show, but I doubt it because
No.
OLP just rolled out their carpet of hits, correct?
Oh, yeah.
That's very interesting show.
You've been playing whatever, Locked in the Trunk of a Car by Tragically Hip.
Oh, you were saying that. A lot of Canadian bands are doing that of late. Huge shout out to Gord Downey and the hip since he's gone, but a lot of Canadian bands jump on stage and do a hip song.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. Locked in the Trunk of the Car, eh?
They didn't play Naveed, though.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. You know why? Because he's too old to hit those notes. That's what happens, man. Come on. You remember that when OLP came out and that guy was going up the ladder? Like, come on. Those are high notes, and you're going to change the key? But anyways, I'm really glad they did it. To tell you the truth, how long ago I seen OLP, they were on the bottom of a bill, which was, the headliner was I Mother Earth, then it was the Headstones, and OLP opened.
Oh, wow.
That would never happen in today's age.
No,
they would be basically the number one band, even though I know I Mother Earth would blow them out of the water, but that's another story. Great to see it. Was Chantel there to help out with the anthem, maybe?
No, she was not. They talked about that in in his encore, because like he came out, he did a couple songs on the piano by himself.
Oh, right, yeah.
And people were like, he came to like, so we were sitting the other side, where the other side of the arena was, right, opposite the stage. He came there on a piano to play, right? Yeah. And people were saying like, Naveed, and he's like, it's not Naveed.
No. That's pretty funny. But I bet you any money the reason he didn't do it is because, like, he's got to be pushing 50, isn't he, if he's not in his 50s?
Yeah.
Okay, and he put Naveed out, he was in his early 20s. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I go to the Robert Plant School of Thought. He goes, why don't you guys, you'd get $1 billion to do a Zeppelin tour. And he goes, yeah, too bad I can't sing those Zeppelin tunes every night. You know, that's a pretty honest man, you know, you ask me.
Exactly. Any shout-outs for you?
I'd like to shout out to Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, yes.
Leaving NFL Today or whatever show
NFL
that's
on Fox.
Yeah, NFL on Fox after, I don't know, 1,000 years. But what we should really be thinking about Jimmy Johnson is that his legacy in football is second to mostly nobody. And he has such signature moments in the history of football, in the college level and in the NFL.
Yeah, a college championship with Miami and then 2 Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys.
And that was a notorious Miami Heat. We've all seen the 30 for 30s.
Yeah,
okay? The U. So he was in deep on that. My famous story is going to U. And remember, Jerry Jones unceremoniously fired Tom Landry, who was the only coach of the Dallas Cowboys at the time, and brought in Jimmy Johnson, which was like, whoa, at the time. Obviously, it was the right move. But I always like the Michael Irwin stories of, and the Troy Aikman stories about just how hardcore Jimmy Johnson was to put a team together. Like, you drove down his road, we're going to do it this way, no excuses. He said guy had a punter, said he had a little asthma problem in the morning. He was cut by frickin' 4 in the afternoon or shit like that. But
and he's also the architect behind that huge trade that basically built that
dynasty.
dynasty.
The Herschel Walker trade, 100%. And not only that, he coined the phrase, How about them Cowboys?
Oh, okay.
So, which I'm sick of hearing since it started back then. But the really sad thing, and it's like I don't know, maybe it's a jinx of the Babe or something. But people haven't realized this: the Dallas Cowboys haven't gone anywhere since Jimmy Johnson left. Yes,
Well, they won one Super Bowl without him.
with Barry Switzer, but everyone still says that was Jimmy Johnson's team. And Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Larry Allen, Michael Irwin, Daryl Johnson. Keep naming these guys. All said if Jimmy Johnson had stuck around, they think that they would have won more Super Bowls. It just things got frayed around the edges, and the next thing you know, it's all over. But big shout out. There was a great tribute to Super Bowl Sunday to Jimmy Johnson. If you've seen it in the pregame, a most excellent tribute, and which got me wondering why would they do it then? Because he's 79. I'm just hoping that the man's still healthy. And he's going to ride off to the sunset and have a very happy future. But we cannot talk about NFL football, college football, without the signature Jimmy Johnson moments. Hope he has a great retirement and keeps his hair together.
Yes, sir.
It's all about the hair.
We'd like to shout out Austin Matthews for getting his 390th goal, putting him second all-time on the Leafs all-time goal list, passing Darryl Sittler. Now he's only 30 behind House That Happens favorite, Matt Sundin.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Did you say Matt Sundin? We got to bring his name up on the show. Mrs. Milani,
kind of relevant.
He's one of your favorites, so we'll only bring him up in context when his records get broken, because that means he'll go farther down the list, and that's less we got to talk about him. How's that?
Okay. Well, he's still in the Hall of Fame, so I imagine his name's
he's
gonna
still
come
good. What? He's not. Come on, top 10 Leaf of all time, easily.
Top 5.
Did nothing, but got top 10.
Wow, we've been through this, but
I'm never going to stop. One time he was at Gilmore. He had Gilmore beside him. That was your chance.
No, they never played. They played together for a little bit, but they never went deep in the playoffs together.
Did Sundin get him to the conference finals?
No, they never went deep in the playoffs together.
No. But did Matt Sundin ever get to the conference finals?
Twice.
Was that with New Jersey?
No, with the Leafs.
With the Leafs? What years was that?
99 and 2002.
99 and 2000. Okay, and when did, what year was it that the Habs in L.A. played?
That was 93.
Oh, yeah, that's before.
That was Gilmore. That was Gilmore Clark.
Yeah. And it was on the end. So, yeah, you guys had some success a long, long time ago, didn't you?
So I'm told. Either way, we'll move this on. Humber men's basketball team got the silver medal in the provincial, unfortunately, last weekend, losing to Durham in the final.
Damn.
Big shout out Mark Stoop, their big player there. Basically was the MVP of the tournament. He was unreal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations. I would have still liked to have seen you get the gold. We're Humber happy here at the house.
Yeah. That was Durham's first gold medal in men's basketball since 1997. And that year they won the Nationals as well. And I got to say, they will have a good chance at Nationals.
Wow. And the Nationals are in Ottawa, right, did you say? Or is it west? Or New Brunswick, didn't you say?
I want to say it's like, down east.
Down east. Good luck to them, but I would still hope that Humber would be there.
Unfortunately, men's volleyball fell in the national championship as well. They will not be playing for a medal today. They lost in the bronze semifinal yesterday. But the women's, they will be playing for the gold medal in the national championship today at 6 p.m. versus Lakeland. And setter Kennedy Willis-Croft was named the CCAA Player of the Year.
Congratulations, and let's go, girls. Bring some hardware back to Etobicoke.
Yeah. I just wish the final wasn't hidden behind a paywall, but alas.
Okay. How did that work out?
Okay.
Any
more shout-outs?
I got one weird one where I have issues with some weird stuff that happens in sports, and we've discussed it over the time in here, but this one really blew my mind. In this SEC women's college tournament, which didn't affect it, so to speak, but we're talking two of the biggest teams in the country, South Carolina and Texas. They were tied. And at the end of the tie, when they looked to decide who was going to be the number one seed in the conference tournament, they flipped a goddamn coin.
At the end of the day, does it really matter that much?
No, it's a principle. You're gonna play a whole season. Kids are seniors. Kids are looking for a chance to go to maybe WNBA. There's such a plethora of things around competition that you're going to put it down to a goddamn freaking coin flip? Oh, you're the number one seed. How'd you get it? I was a tail. Come on. That's just ridiculous. Couldn't they, you know what they should do? Should have said point differential, best home record, best something. Like a bite on. When you hear freaking coin flip. Come on,
well,
bro.
they all agreed to this before, so
Because
I
I didn't think they expected to use it.
Well,
That's what I mean.
Too bad, so sad.
So I'm saying that what
Hindsight's
they should
2020.
do. Well, I'm going to go down to the SEC and say, okay, man, listen, you got to do something about this because it sounds pretty ridiculous. I got to talk about this to people talking about sports. Are going to say, whoa, what it came down to? Whoa, they flipped the coin. Was the floor even? What kind of coin did you use? Did you use a loonie? Oh no, we used an stop it. It's just insane to have a level of competition that high to make a decision on a whole season based on a coin flip.
Well,
Come on.
FIFA used to decide winners.
Don't even go there because I had
based on
to
the
learn.
coin
I learned
flip.
a lot about what those guys are doing, and I don't get that either. You know what I mean? Even in the NFL, they even changed it like where two people got a chance because, get the coin flip, you get the toss, you go down the field, game's over. Even they understood, hey, wait a second here. And you know that one.
Well, that's a little bit different with NFL overtime rules.
Okay, they got around to it. And besides, you got to have 21 different tiebreakers before you get to a coin flip
Exactly.
in the NFL, which is, I think, is the procedure to
Well,
go
probably
through.
in the SEC, they probably had like a number of tiebreakers too before you get to a coin flip.
Third.
Really?
I went, what?
Either way, they agreed to it, so I'm not going to feel bad.
I think it's going to be changed in the future. What it does, though, it could happen. Like right now, because the championships are going on, everybody's won the semifinals today, and South Carolina's on one side and Texas on the other, and it looks like they're both going to win today, and they'll play in the championship for the conference tomorrow, so it doesn't really matter. But sometimes that seeding could be a little bit different because who do you play? You know what I mean? When you get down to those 7 to 8 teams, maybe this team is a little bit better. Maybe this team's on a roll. I don't know. My thing is this. Coin flips are bullshit, man, on a level of that. You know what I mean? Like if you and I are
it's
going to
just
say
for
who's
seeding, so I mean, it's not. I don't think it's
just
a huge
for
deal.
seeding. Just for seeding. I'm going to remember Milani said that on our show. Just for seeding. Next week when we talk about when they do the seeding for the March Madness, it's just for seeding, man. Like
the apples
no
and
big-
oranges there. It's a committee that decides the seating for that.
Doesn't matter. We can't.
It does
say
matter.
That. The seeding matters, but the flipping of the coins got to go. And anything on that level where the competition is that high and that much is at stake, you can't just throw in something as cheesy as
No, it's a
coin
conference
flip.
tournament. Like, what's the real difference between the number 1 and number 2?
Number 1 and number 2. You know what I mean? Who's you can
Yeah,
get?
but like
number 1 and you get the 8th team. One team gets the 7th team.
Exactly.
Okay, we don't even know where those teams are. It could be advantageous to play one or the other. I don't know. I didn't look at it that deep. And so far, the tournament is run, so it looks like tomorrow they will both be in the championship. It'll be decided there. But in the future, we may have a disagreement on this, but Cruz from the House That Happens says, get rid of this coin flip shit. Find another way. Race 2 dogs across the bring your mascot and bring his mascot. Race mascots across the floor. Anything but a coin flip.
My last shout out, well, it's more of an anti-shout out. Pat McAfee.
Oh, okay.
He called Canada a terrible country, and they didn't apologize.
Okay, I'm okay. First of all, here's my take on everything, just to get this straight. I don't hate America, and I don't know if I would boo the national anthem. I understand why people are. Okay, we got some shit going on right now, and it's actually dancing the way I think it's going to be because bullies should be called out, and that's what we're doing. However, in this case, let's put this into perspective, okay? I don't think McAfee has a clue of what's going on politically. Think he had no idea.
Then stay out of politics.
Okay,
simple.
Okay, so what happens? He comes down to Toronto. He's doing whatever that stupid thing they do in a cage.
WWE,
and Jay,
yeah.
I was not going to even say that because Jay, we don't have to say that.
Well,
on the
the
air.
people listening might not know.
Okay, so anyways, we're going to say there was this event where people do highly dramatic athletic things in a fixed environment, 40,000 worth in Toronto. So he's unaware. Now, what happened was when he got up and he heard the boo, he's very proud American. I get it. But there was a lot of chirping from the crowd, yipping at him, saying some shit too. So McAfee just got his hair up. It got out of hand. I actually seen the show afterwards, and no matter how you put it, at least he extended a bit of an olive branch. You say that's
No, he
not
didn't.
good enough.
He said, you booed my anthem. I called your country, whatever he said it was. Let's shake hands and move on. That's not an apology. That's a bullshit truce.
Well, whatever the case may be, he's pissed and the Canadians are pissed, and nothing's changing in our world in the very little future.
Well, tell your president that you voted for to stop being a bully then.
Okay, that he could have said that, but we know it when it was backtracked because one of the guys in his thing is Canadian. You know that. One of the Detroit.
That wasn't a
Lions
backtrack though. It was a bullshit
okay.
one.
If you want to look at it that way, but
I didn't hear him say I'm sorry. I didn't hear him say I was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. None of that came out of his mouth.
Okay, so I'll take it one step further. I don't think you'll ever hear McAfee say something sorry about anything ever.
That's weak then. That's a sign of a weak man.
I don't know if it's a sign of a weak man.
Yes, it is. A strong man should admit when they're wrong.
Okay,
and learn and move on.
But he said,
other than that, you're just gonna stay in your little echo chamber and whatever, and just and not learn.
Okay, maybe
and that's not life.
Okay, so
that's not the way I want to live.
This way, I don't want to be looking like I'm on the wrong side. I did a video this week. Everyone knows where I'm standing in this position, but I got to look at it this way. You come up here to do an event. You're looking forward to coming to Toronto. Everyone loves coming to Toronto. You come into the arena. You're not clued into what's going on, and you get a barrage of people booing your national anthem and start calling you names and shit and saying all kinds of anti-American shit. What are you going to do? I'm going to stick up for my country, so I'm just saying.
By saying Canada's a terrible country that's sticking up for his country?
I can't imagine what some of the people said down at the Dome, and that's their right to do
Okay, but don't sink down to their level, though.
I don't know.
Sometimes you got to be the bigger man, and Pat McAfee was not it. Sorry, you double down on being an idiot.
Well, I just say that he was Pat McAfee being Pat McAfee, whatever you want to take it.
Well, then he's an idiot then.
Okay.
He's an idiot being an idiot.
Okay. I just wasn't
He's being a baby. Grow up and do better, Pat McAfee, because you're being a little bitch.
I thought that he attempted to put sand on the fire. I really think he attempted to do it.
It was a poor job.
Because I think if you heard what he was saying before that, I really don't think that he has anything against the Canadian people. I just think it's a situation.
Then why didn't he apologize?
I figured it was a good enough apology for me.
There wasn't an apology.
I wasn't at the Dome, though, so I don't know what went on. So I'm not going to defend anybody, but I'll continue to watch McAfee show. That's all.
Well, I will not.
Okay.
Any other shout-outs? Do better, McAfee.
Okay, that's what you're going to say. Well, I'm going to shout out to the 6 other pundits that I've seen around the country that have defended Canada in a big way this week. Like, you know what I mean? You go down the line, a lot of people that are historically American, I'm not going to say all their names, but I mean people of both sides of the political stripe, let's put it this way, have all said, let's tone down the rhetoric, because mostly it's all coming down to this anthem stuff anyway. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess maybe my feelings are a little bit different because my father was American. I spent a lot of time in America. I'm thinking there's a better way that we got to dance through this situation, but I don't know what's going to happen. But I will tell you this, in my due opinion, if you're watching what's going around in the world, then I will say a bully's got to be called out. And I'm glad that the premier of our province is the only one person right now with any power to call out a bully. So we'll see where it goes. Anyways, we can tone down the rhetoric and get back to peace, which I don't think is going to happen the next little while.
Actually, we should shout out Trudeau then, because I thought his what he's had to say has been very good. I mean, we've had problems with him in the past, obviously, but
I'm going to absolutely refrain from saying anything. The guy resigned. He shouldn't even be talking. He should be out of the picture. But he's
still prime minister.
Okay, I could predict right now what I think is going to happen, and I hope all Canadians better scream after tomorrow when this government. If we don't have an election within a month, then we'll be screaming. It's corrupt. You know what I mean? Bottom line is, everyone should know this, and we're not a political show. We should take a look in the mirror. There's a reason why we're in this situation right now. And if everyone who wants to be honest about it, go back 10 years. I'm not about to tell everybody now, and I've gotten offline trying to explain it to people because they're not educated. But if you really look what's going on in our country, we brought a lot of this onto ourselves. So what we should start doing is thinking east-west, everybody, when you have a new election. What's best for the country?
I know. We were too reactionary here.
Exactly. So let's go east-west, circle the wagons. It's going to be tough for a while, people. Yep. But we love our country here at the House That Happens, Canada First.
Exactly. We'll move this over to the NFL, where we just had the NFL Draft Combine. But some big news. We had some big moves. Geno Smith, last night, getting traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third rounder. Apparently now Seattle's going to be targeting Sam Darnold in free agency. And I just got word this morning that Minnesota will be officially moving on from Darnold. Deebo Samuel went to Washington for a fifth rounder. Thuney on Kansas City went to Chicago for a fourth rounder next year. So the Bears get a little bit more protection for Caleb. Seattle releases Tyler Lockett. The Jets release Devontae Adams, and then Philly releases Darius Slay.
That's all salary cap moves. But the number one thing you got to realize, and because they're in my division, coach from our offensive coordinator that became the new coach of Chicago Bears, not only did he get Tunney, he picked up another lineman, kept him under the cap. So the first thing he did was, I won't get lineman for Caleb. So that's a sign of that's where you build where you want to go. But
they should have done that in the first place last year.
Well, they were too busy freaking buying shiny baubles. Look at they shine great. Too bad they get run over by trucks. That's the kind of situation it is. But what we're going to start to do is, like, we should be like everybody else. And we discussed this off the air, but the NFL is 365 days a year. So we should give it its little thing here. And one of the things I said to you off the air that we should talk about is this was Combine Week.
Yes, it was.
So there's a lot of varying opinions on what the value of the Combine is. But as fans, what's your perspective on the Combine? I got a few.
We've talked about this time and time again. There's a lot of value in it, and there's like not a lot of value in it in the same time. For me, it's more about like the interview portion, like just picking these guys' brains, seeing if they are that fit for your team, how they think and all that.
Oh yeah, that's cool too. Well, the number one reason they go there, and I known this in years past, but just as coming up and hearing some players talking about it because of some of the personalities that have risen up to be in this draft, is the fact that it's the medical is the number one thing you go there for, right?
Sure.
And what you got to go through to make sure that your medical is just perfect, because getting drafted 8th and getting drafted 18th, that's millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So everybody goes in there where you got to do your medical, which I think is very cool, because you got to be on the up and up. Maybe you had a ligament here, a lung issue here. Another thing it does is that it clears the body from anything that you may be doing to make you look greater when you get to the Combine. But at the same time, what people don't realize is the Combine is the one time of the year everybody that's anybody in football is at the Combine. And it's the hustle of hustles amongst free agents, not free agents, general managers, agents, players to come, what the college is doing now. If you ever listen to Michael Lombardi, this guy, I wish they should have football 101 and he should be one on it. He says, now that it's gone down with NIL in colleges, he says, always remember about these issues. It's pretty simple. Everybody wants more money and everybody's lying. So my thing about the Combine is, and you know me and agents, I'm always a little bit skeptical about sometimes what goes on there or what goes on in the interviews. Okay, because what comes out is it's distorted, and what bends a player is that suddenly he goes here or he goes there. Jalen Carter fell to Philadelphia in the draft 2 years ago. There was a ton of rumors about off court, the accident in the car, what the future was going to be. Agent said this to one team, said something different to another team.
Oh, yeah.
And he conveniently falls to Howard in Philadelphia.
That happens in every sport. Like in hockey a couple years ago, Michkov.
There you go.
He wanted to go to Philly. He got to go to Philly.
Okay, what my point being is that I'm trying to validate, like, when you come out of there. Like, for example, last year, one of the examples I heard was best is that C.J. Stroud passed some connect the dots test. So some people came out and said, this guy might not be as smart as we think he is. Last time I checked, C.J. Stroud's pretty damn football
Are you talking about
smart.
the Wonderlic test?
Whatever it is, okay?
No,
So
that's a highly flawed test.
Oh, I believe so too. So what I'm saying is, why leak the results? Like, there's always a leak. There's always agents. There's general managers. Everyone's trying to get up on the other team about what they've got to. Now, one of the things that they were talking about is that, well, we're going to see it at the pro day. Why don't you come there? Why don't you show your stuff? You're at the Combine anyway, so do your things. Now, some guys were bad at the drills. Some guys are going to look good. For example, if you're running down there and you're a 275-pound man and you run a 4.5, you're getting people's attention. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I get that. So you put that in your back pocket with your interview, then there's a tape. Because what happens when you go to your pro day, everything's sanitized.
Yeah. So in a controlled environment.
In a controlled environment, running the routes that you told your guys to play so when y'all showed up there. Now, one of the things that I find very interesting about this, and I forget who was pundit said this, okay, if you're a quarterback and you're throwing, right, like Will Hunter apparently had a rough day from Ohio State. Even though he's got the physical tools, say he's very smart, blah, blah, blah. Why did he play in college so long? Why did it take him to rise up so long at Ohio State? Whatever, okay? One of the guys says, well, you know, one of the problems, you don't realize this? When you go to your pro day, what are you throwing? You're throwing those balls you throw every day. You're throwing those receivers you every day. When you get to the combine, they rip brand new balls out of boxes, out of plastic, slippery as hell, a little bit different than the college ball. And sometimes you're going to make some throws that, oh, gee, is he ever had trouble throwing the ball? What's the size of his hand? You know what I mean? Like the plethora of bullshit. Then you get down to the draft 2 years later and you go, okay, we're going to do this cycle again next year at the combine. We're going to do this cycle. You know what I mean? Will it go around in circles? But I think the most interesting about the combine is all the people there that start the rumors to try to manipulate players so they'll land in a place that a team wants. Because as we discussed off the air, and it's starting to show around the league, it's not necessarily the fastest or the biggest player. It's the player that fits the program that you're trying to build.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Which is
what scouting's all about.
Exactly. But I mean, like, where do you go? Like, if you get the guy and it's like, surefire prospect, he's the best guy at 10. You don't need a tight end, but he's there. What do you do?
Trade the pick.
Well, that's what they usually do.
Down.
Or move down. That's the classic Belichick move, because you get down. And it's the same thing they say in every sport. Once you get to basketball with the top 15 guys, then it's all potential. Mm-hmm. So you don't know what you're doing, how they...
Well, it depends on the draft, but yeah.
Yeah, and they say this year, and it's like...
There's the fall-off point in the draft.
Yeah, yes and no, but then...
Well, usually it's like I know in hockey, like usually it's like the first 20, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less.
They say in basketball too.
Basketball, I feel like it's less.
Okay.
Basketball, I feel like there's more of a drop-off after the top 10.
Okay.
But there's like the top 20, like guys that you know are going to be top 6 forwards, top 4 defensemen, that kind of thing. And after that, it's all just guesswork.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So you go into the... Okay, so the other thing you just said how good the interviews are, okay? Some guy's going to walk into the interview and say, I'm the baddest of the badasses. If you don't draft me, you guys are nuts, and walk out. And you're going to go, oh, shit. Do I want that attitude? Then the guy goes out in the field and does it. What are you going to do? Then the other guy comes in and says the same thing, and he can't tie his shoes. How do you determine that in the interview? You know what I'm saying? It's a mixed bag. For example, I thought the great thing that I heard this week from Shedeur Sanders when they were asking him questions, you hear what his answer was?
Yeah.
Here, look at the tape. What do you mean pressure? Do you know who my dad is?
Well, in situations like that, I imagine it's also based on how much you already want the guy to begin with. Because if you want that guy and he's like, he kind of has that attitude, you're going to be like, oh, look at this kid. But if you're kind of on the fence, like that's probably going to turn you off.
Well, the thing that gets me is that there's one factor that we cannot measure. There is no metric, or there is no machine. There's no measurement that tests intangibles.
Yeah.
Okay, and you look at Shedeur Sanders. Now, he might not have the strongest arm. Takes him a little longer to get through the possessions. He runs back and forth a little bit quickly, but he has all the intangibles. He's tough as nails, and the situation doesn't scare him. Isn't that what you want in an NFL quarterback?
Sure.
Where he goes in the draft, I don't know, because already we got some issues with Carter and the foot thing, and he should be going first overall. If he doesn't go first overall, I wonder who's manipulated something in the combine. Because you really, like you're saying, I agree with you. The medical's number one. The interview has to be number two. But there has to be a follow-up, and you say, okay, what's the guy doing here? The other example, we said, okay, like the cornerback that runs 4.4 and the guy that runs 4.6.
Yeah.
But the 4.6 guy's got freaking intangibles that the other guy's never going to have, so who do you draft? Just because of the speed? I don't know. Anyways, it always works out later in a couple of years before we get to the draft this year.
Well, the better example was like not even the intangibles, but like Michael Lombardi was talking about how like the guy who runs a little bit slower might have better reach or something.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, stuff like that, or his first step.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean, which comes down to when you talk about it, the Hunter guy from Colorado. Is he going to play both sides of the ball?
Well, I think most scouts are saying he's going to be a cornerback, and they'll put him in like some series as like a wide receiver. Like they'll have like some packages set up for him.
Oh, and I agree. But he's already telling teams, if you don't do that, I don't want to play for you.
I think teams are on board for that.
I think they should do anyway. But I will say this: no player plays 100 snaps a game and survives like 10 years.
No.
Okay, especially at certain positions. So you got to understand that when you pay the kid, you want to get it. Like, what is he want to get him to their second contract? That's the whole thing. Your draft is a success if you get the guy to the second contract.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess you're going to figure this all out at the combine. But I don't think it's always speed and vertical jump that gets you drafted. I think it's a combination of everything that we said. But I'm fascinated by every day in the combine, and that's too much time on my hands. Okay, you're listening, and these rumors come out, and then you start putting it behind one of my favorite people in sports, agents. The manipulation factor just blows my mind. But anyway, we're going to take a closer eye on it because before the draft, I've actually started working on it. I got the last 4 drafts.
Oh my God.
The top 14 players, and where are they today? You're going to be very surprised. And then because for every time you get a draft, like look what happens here. Tom Brady will forever be the example of what do you know in a draft. Brock Purdy is now being number 2, Mr. Irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at Puka Nacua on the Rams. Everybody had 2 shots at the guy. Nobody touched him. I heard McVay talking about the other day, and he says we had to take him where he was because we realized someone else was going to pick up on him because he was too good. But his metrics said, he'd be this. We had him in line. And when he went here, we said, okay. They gambled on teams wouldn't take him to where he got them, and they were correct. Mm-hmm. But they said there was a danger doing it because they said we couldn't figure out why this guy, except for the school that he went to.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But
basically what the Red Wings did with Lidstrom back in the day.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We kind of do some things to manipulate it. But anyways, we're going to have the combine. What are we doing with an ant on the table this time of year? And the ant is on my table. I was discussing the other day, I was writing a song that said, where do ants go in the winter?
They hide inside.
Isn't that, that's weird. I'll show you where I've written it down, and an ant just, wow. Is there an algorithm in my chaos room that said I wrote down ants and they just showed up? In any event, we will be, I'm going to take a little closer at the draft this year. I'm going to look at the last couple years, and might work out for our fantasy in the fall when we just discuss drafting rookies.
We will have to see. We'll move this over to Formula One, where we will have the season opener next weekend in Australia. But the real big news this week is Cadillac has officially joined the grid next season, 2026, as the 11th team on the grid. And I imagine the next year and a bit, or I guess less than a year now, where it's going to be kind of a countdown. We're going to hear who the drivers are, team principal, all that fun stuff.
From what I understand, Cadillac's full in, and we are American. They are American. They're even going... Someone asked them the question, and it's back to what we were talking about, how you get them there. They need 2 drivers.
Yeah.
They want to be one American. Well, they said, we can find an American with merit to put him in the car.
Probably Colton Herta from IndyCar.
Well, it's really weird because they've got their one place in Britain where they've got a little, like their hub. But everything's in Indianapolis in the core of everything racing in America. That's where their facility's set up. That's where they're doing their design, the whole 9 yard. Even though they're using it, is it Mercedes gearboxes this year or Ferraris?
I believe they're starting with Ferrari.
Yeah, Ferrari gearboxes, but they say...
Ferrari engines.
Ferrari engines, whatever the case may be. But they're saying by 2028, they'll be completely independent, manufacture, design, the whole 9 yards on their car. That's insane for 2 years. 2 years they're going to do that. Now, will they be competitive?
Probably not right away. It never turns out that way, but...
No, I know there's always high wishes, but this is Cadillac now.
Yeah.
And they're hooked up with the other agency? Like, there's billions and billions of dollars.
This is still connected to the Andretti bid, but like they have completely taken his name off of it.
So you think that's one of the reasons? What if he shows up there and wanted to design things? Do you think the other people will be pissed?
Well, I mean, he still has technical ownership of it, but like he's kind of been pushed to the sideline because he's persona non grata.
Pushed to the side. He's been pushed to the back row. Yeah. He's standing outside the arena listening to it through the wall.
Either way.
Which is kind of a drag. Like, what did he do to piss people off?
Oh,
well, we know.
We do know.
We know.
Speaking of teams with high hopes, the rumors are that Adrian Newey is basically going to be staying overnight at the Aston Martin factory to work on the car for next year.
That's pretty cool.
Doesn't this guy have a family, though?
Sometimes guys are junkies.
That's what this sounds like.
Okay, it's like head coaches in the NFL. Certain guys, like their wives see them for 16 hours a week. That's about all it is, unfortunately. But that's just the nature of the beast. Like, I'm just a lazy guy. I should have been more motivated and disciplined and did a whole bunch more, even though I'm happy with my lot in life. But some people are just designed like that. You know what I mean? You got to do it all the time, whatever. I think it's interesting because this guy is like architect.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, what goes on in his brain about the cars? I don't know, but...
Well, this is coming across as a bit of an ego play.
Think so?
Yeah, to prove that he's like the real shit in F1.
But he's getting old, too, so he's got to get his time in now.
He's dealing with a meddling owner now with Lawrence Stroll, right? We've all heard the rumors about how active he is behind the scenes there, so...
We're going to have to wait and see how that...
It's going to be very interesting how 2026... But that's still over a year away. I know they're hoping that he can help with the upgrades of this car this year, but Aston Martin, not looking strong. Looking strong.
No, we're going to have to see. I'm just liking the way that Cadillac's jumping in with both feet. I know it's all press releases and stuff like that, but they say, we got the money, we got the know-how, we're going to go. That's and in this business, that means something.
I've wanted an 11th team for a while now, so I'm happy we're finally getting there.
Should be 12. Shouldn't it be even?
Well, 12 is the well, it's still going to be 22 drivers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
The maximum they're allowed to have is 12 teams under the current setup. So they could expand to one more.
I don't see that happening anytime
soon. No.
One of the interesting things that we talked about off the air about F1, which blows my mind, is I know that we both agree that things aren't going as smoothly for Red Bull to start the season as everybody else. But until I see the cars on the track, I'm saying all betting's off.
But the fact that they didn't get very many laps done in testing is a huge red flag.
Every time. So I didn't understand this because sometimes people, if you're learning about F1 and you really go to an F1 site and these people really start talking about the minutiae of the cars, it sounds like freaking algebra. Let me tell you, to get around what they're saying, okay? So what I'm understanding, and you told me this, and this is another thing in sports I don't understand, is there's been a wing design that Mercedes and McLaren have been playing with, right?
Yes.
Okay, and it seems
the flexi wing,
and they seem to be having advantages with it. Hence the reason that paint job thing we talked about last week. It's all tied in now, which I didn't.
I don't think that's I don't know if that's tied into the flexi wing.
All about aerodynamics. Okay. So it's got to move. The paint's got to do with all of that, and that's a very
aerodynamics is number one in Formula One.
Well, there you go. But to measure it with paint and stuff, and that's next level thinking, which I think is really, really cool. But you told me this, and I don't understand this. You said, okay, by the 9th race, they got to make an adjustment, so then Red Bull will catch back up. No, wait.
Well, more so Ferrari.
What?
More so Ferrari.
Okay, whatever the case may be, I did check it, and you're right. 9 races are by then, 3 in April. So you're going to play by all these rules and then get to June and go, well, you know what? We're going to change rules now, right in the middle of the season. Let's try it this way. Come on, what's up? Like, see, this is some things this is the North American in me. You know what I mean? The Canadian in me. You're going to do what? Okay, so these guys are kicking ass now for 9 races. It's got McLaren, Mercedes. They're like the cream of the freaking season. Mm-hmm. They're 1 and 2 in the constructors' points, and everyone's crawling up the back to do it. Change the rule. Red Bull and freaking Haas wins the next 3 races.
Haas, I don't know about Haas.
Well, I'm just throwing that in there.
I don't think Haas has even ever had a podium.
No, there are ways, but I like their competitive spirit. Is that what it is?
They got a lot of testing laps done.
Yeah,
I think they could have a sneaky good season. But the point here is that, like, I mean, we talked about this when it got announced. Like, FIA and Formula One, like, they put this rule in place like way too late in the off season. So I think it was a little bit. It's a little bit too to like give the teams a little bit of leeway with that, because you can't just drop something like on them like. What, 2 months before testing? Like, it's ridiculous.
Politique?
Of course.
Politique? I just find it bizarre. Okay, now you've had in other sports where they made some adjustments, like say in football, they were calling this, and they'll say, well, we got to call it a little more because of this or that. I see these little refinements are in hockey. Okay, well, you don't want those reverse hits. We got to... Tavares did a great one the other night, though. I've seen it, but that's another story. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. Like, this is like when you come new to a sport.
Yeah.
It just tells you how humans are not far from dogs, okay, when you think about it. And that's why we want dogs. We're trained a certain way to look at a sport that gets to the end this way. When you go to a brand new sport, which I've only been watching for 2 or 3 years now, I'm really excited about the season because how much more I've looked at it and seen what people are going to do. When I heard this quirk, I just went, wow. How does this happen in the middle of the season? You're right. It's 9. There's only, 21 races? 24?
24. So it's 1/3 of the season.
Close to half.
No, a third. Exactly at a third. The new rules kick in.
Yeah, okay, a third. So a third of the season. Okay, we're going to change the game now. Let's play this way. Bro, it just sounds So can I start putting money on the cars now? Like, can I go to a betting site and say, I'm going to bet this?
Of course.
Because gambling. Because I'm going to think about that. I'm going to put it like right now. If you bet on a car to win there, the odds will be like, especially after. I'm going to let's check that out. Here at the House That Happens, we're going to try to do some scientific attempts at gambling. Okay, so we'll bet on Red Bull for the Canada Grand Prix because that's after the 8, right?
Yeah.
Or the Texas Grand Prix.
I would say Ferrari over Red Bull.
Okay, whatever the case may be, but yeah, let's just throw it in the money because the odds if you bet on it now will be better, right?
Sure.
Okay, we're going to investigate that because not that we're ready to turn into Jimmy the Greek or anything like that, but every time we put a couple shekels on something, it's always fun to watch. Did you cash out on your bet? Which one you were talking about? On soccer?
The Barcelona one?
No, you're still in, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Why would I cash out?
No, don't.
We will keep an eye on F1, of course, since the next weekend's the first race. But for now, we'll move this to college basketball, where we are in the official race to college tournaments and March Madness. But I know you want to give conference tournament predictions.
Okay, well, that's going to be because I don't know shit and I know everything, okay? This is going to be, Harry, I think the number one tournament we should be looking at next weekend because the games this weekend, if you're going to go out and bet today, everyone that's a Seniors Day, just bet money on Seniors Day. Like pick 5 parlay on anyone, any teams. And if they're big rivalries, regard the point spreads, most of the time it's going to win. Not that I know anything, but the odds are. The problem is you got to do it on your line because, if you go to college football, basketball, it's embarrassing when you say to the girl, because I don't do nothing online, can you give me this sheet for college basketball, please? And the machine goes,
It prints out like...
and then they look at you like, what? Then 5 sheets come out.
You could just save paper and just look it up on your tablet.
Yeah, but then you got to go, I'm trying to do that, but then the game changes, and then sometimes you put it in, and they change the odds at the last second.
Oh, fair enough.
OLG's motherfuckers, man. I don't care what you say about them. You know what I mean? Ontario's legal gangsters.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're just brutal. You know what I'm saying? But in any event, here's one of the things that I'm going to say. First of all, I'm going to bet, when I bet on the championship, unless Auburn runs the table right now, I will put 2 cards in for March Madness. I'm going to be betting on a number 2 seed to win it all. Right now, and I don't even know who the number 2 seed is.
The blind number 2 seed.
Blind number 2 seed.
That is bold.
Okay, right now you heard it on this the second Saturday in March. I'm saying I'm betting on a number 2. But who could the number 2 be? It could be Florida.
Yep.
It could be Alabama. It could be St. John's. It could be a credible team in second that lost a game in the SEC tournament. Because these guys are all going to beat the shit out of each other right now.
It's probably most likely either Tennessee, Alabama, St. John's, or Michigan State right now are looking like the number 2s.
Michigan State's number 2, I'm running him to the bank because Izzo gets one more before he retires. And I'm betting on coaches. Okay? 2
freshmen, though, in important roles on that team.
And everybody else, they got some overclassmen and shit, too, so they can keep their eye on those guys.
Well, they're my top 6 theory, so they have 2 juniors, 2 seniors, 2 freshmen.
Yeah, and the guys coming off the bench, they've got a couple older guys, too. But the crazy thing is, look at this right now, okay? The tournament starts, I don't think it's going to be seeded until tomorrow. So they got to have the SEC tournament. Right now, Auburn, Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee, they're in the top 12. In the country.
Yep.
In the country. Now, they're going to battle here. So all these guys are going to have a strength of conference. Like, Old Miss was doing great. They lose 2 games in a row. We can't find them. Texas A&M had a horrible loss. They dropped to number 20. But that doesn't mean these teams are shit. If you go down there and you take a look, Texas is trying. Look at Texas. 6-11 in their conference. 17-13. That might get you in back in the day. But it's going to wipe out other wild card teams in other conferences. I can see it coming. I don't think it should be too heavy for these teams because if you get beat up, like it's Vanderbilt, they're a sexy pick. We always have Vanderbilt in the tournament. It's like I'm not going to say nothing because I used to use a word for these teams that had something to do with, never mind.
Oh, okay, you'll have to tell me after the show.
It just starts with V, okay? That's all I'm going to say.
V.
Yeah, I used to call them, there's teams, and they always puke it up. Vanderbilt, Virginia, Villanova until Villanova won.
Yeah.
But for years, I used to call them Virginia Tech, VCU.
Virginia won one recently, though.
Yeah, they finally, they shut me up after 20 years. I used to just incessantly make those
Vanderbilt's a baseball school anyways.
True, but they're a money school too.
Yes,
they're Civil War money. That's how long they've been around. Oh yeah, they've been around. It's the Vanderbilts. Come on. But in any event, when you look at right now, okay, so you're going to have guaranteed Auburn, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, Missouri, Ole Miss, Texas, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. That's 10 teams from one conference. They all deserve to be there.
On PTI, they're making the argument that there's going to be 11 SEC teams in the tournament.
I just counted 10. There could be 11. That's
insane. That's insane.
That's how good. So that's what I'm saying. It's going to wipe out like some of those
every other conference.
And it's never been this dominant in years. You've been hearing now that the scuttlebutt around is like, and these teams are battling. So,
people are losing their minds about this. It's crazy.
I haven't seen it, and you know me, it's my favorite sporting event of the year. I've seen a couple years of Big Ten look good, and I thought, the ACC looked great. Well, they had 5 teams. This is 10 teams, bro.
Yeah.
And you know what? And it's going to really, that's why I'm starting to look at angles to win March Madness without taking the obvious. Okay, but if Auburn runs the table, Bruce Pearl has never won a championship. Those coaches usually do. I will probably take an Auburn ticket. Kevin Pick, if you're listening, and I hope you're having a great time down in the Bahamas.
Hey.
Football schools rarely win. Baylor did win finally a couple of years ago, so football schools could win. But when
NIL's changing everything.
Oh, my God. This is insane. So we don't even know about the seedings. We can't even begin to approach the seedings until after the tournament's over.
Yeah.
Because all of these schmucks are going to beat the shit out of each other next weekend. So anything can happen.
Going to be fun.
I think, it's going to be great.
I usually try and watch the ACC tournament.
No, I'll be watching the SEC
well, this
tournament.
year.
I'll be watching them in the Big Ten because what has happened, too, is it gets really weird when you look at these things like all year you heard about Purdue. Purdue, what a team. They're going to be the team in the Big Ten. All of a sudden, Michigan rises up, and look where we are now.
Michigan State, too.
Oh, well, let's be honest here, and I hate to say this, okay, because it's going to break my heart. I think that Michigan already peaked. You know what I mean? Yeah, they may have peaked already. It's okay, because now that when it's push come to shove, and we play Michigan State tomorrow.
Big game.
Huge game.
At their barn or yours?
It's at their barn, so that winner is basically going to be the winner of the division. Now, if Wisconsin wins and Maryland wins and Purdue wins, then we got 4 teams with 14 and win records. So that means Michigan, who could be a nice number 2, is suddenly a number 7th. Gets beat in the first round, and now they're a 5th seed in the tournament. That's how quickly you go from being I'm great to I'm here.
You guys will be in the dance, though.
100% will be in the dance, but I want to be a 4 seed or higher.
Well, 5 or 4, is that much of a difference?
Sure, number 5s usually beat 12s. 12s get beat by 5.
Oh, true,
12,
true.
So I don't want to be in the 5 slot. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden Michigan's at 12th and they get beat.
It doesn't always work out that way.
Every year for the last 10 years, is it? Except for one. A 12 is beaten a 5, and sometimes in 1 year, 3 12s beat 3 5s. 3 out of 4 12s beat. It's the weirdest thing. But you know when they do, they go into the room planning that. You know when they go in the room, they set this up for TV and everything.
Oh, of course.
So that's how it's going to go.
That's not really a secret.
So I believe that Texas A&M better be careful because they were going to be a top 4. But one of these SEC teams is going to end up being a 5. And they're going to be the team that's coming into the tournament. Like whatever SEC team looked great 2 months ago, and they're coming into the tournament struggling, they're deliberately going to put them in that 5 spot against a hot conference championship team somewhere. Because that's just the way it is. And if they win, it plays out for great drama for American television because this is an American game, right? Whatever. So I'm not going to make any great predictions right now. I'm just going to say once we get to the tournament, we'll have to start next Saturday. We can't even make them then. Because the tournament won't be over.
Well, I'm in charge of the bracket apparently, right?
Well, yeah, so you're the house bracket. I'm putting money in myself, so we'll get that. The bottom line is, my thing is I hope maybe we should do the show on Sunday next week.
Because is that when the tournaments are done?
All the tournaments will be. Maybe it'll be better doing it on Sunday because there'll only be 3 left on Sunday. Because, some maybe the ACC and the Big East, the Big 12, their finals on Saturday. Then the Big 10, SEC, and the Pac-12, well, their championships will be on Sunday.
Pac-12?
Well, whatever. I don't think they're going to be in there. But, the other ones, like...
It's a 2-team conference.
If it's that. Okay.
It is. It's Oregon State and Washington State.
But in any event, most of these schools have already played. Like the Big East will be next weekend. the Atlantic 10, but a lot of the conferences this weekend is their tournaments or by the middle of the week.
Like Ivy League.
All that, yeah. A lot of those going to be done. So what we do is maybe we should wait till Sunday. Or maybe not. We'll
discuss.
We'll discuss during the week that it's going to go. One of the things I wanted to bring up, too, before we get any further with basketball is I really wanted to bring up who's going to be the big guys on draft day. And the thing about the draft day is it's really fun if you can watch these guys during the tournament. Problem is, we're probably not going to be able to see a lot of these guys because they're not going to play. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of a weird...
Unless you watch the NIT.
Oh, yeah, you'll be watching the NIT. But, let's just... the top guys are the two guys from Rutgers. And this has just blown my mind. How did both of these guys end up in Rutgers? Oh, come on, Cruz.
I think we both know the answer.
Stop it. You know what I mean?
NIL.
Whatever the case may be, but we're not going to see these guys. And I have watched them play because I've watched the Big Ten Network. But when do you get a Rutgers game, bro?
Can't think of a time.
Okay, so I've gone searching just to look at these guys. They're NBA ready, but they're also a little bit of NBA attitude too.
They'll fit right in.
Well, we'll get to that later. But in any event, there you go. We got Dylan Harper, the point guard, and Ace Bailey, the shooting guy, or the small forward. They're both...
Not to be confused with Leafs legend, Ace Bailey.
Ace Bailey, exactly. But these guys are good-sized guys. They're playing. They got NBA bodies is what I always say is the thing to do. But it's really a sin. We're not going to see them. But we're going to get all the Duke guys. My question is, why don't they stay around for another year because of NIL to get their skills better?
Well, if they think they're going to be stars in the NBA, again, you want to start the clock faster, right?
I like your argument there, but I think NIL has changed it.
But you're not going to make $20 million.
No, but it'll take a couple years. But I mean, your first year in the league, what are you going to make?
No, but it's not about that. It's about starting the clock faster so you can make that $20-30 million the year in advance, right?
Okay, so 10 years ago you couldn't make that $3 million in college. Wouldn't you sit around for college one year if you're getting $3 to $5 mil?
I don't know. If I could play in the NBA, I'd want to go to the NBA.
Okay, so I would look at it this way. And I don't know, because maybe all depends on those sleazy-ass agent fucks. I don't know how they're going to deal with things. But I'm going to tell my guy this. Okay, you know what? You're going to get drafted probably between 20 and 30 this year. Okay? And they got, because of the CBA, where you're going to get drafted, they say, but listen, you stay at Baylor one more year, and I'll get you $2.5 million, and next year you'll be drafted in the top 10. So you make your money back, and you still got $2.5 million to do whatever you want.
I don't think that happens too much, though.
I think it's going to happen more.
Maybe
because you know what?
But usually, it's when you have that chance to get drafted, it's like I don't know. These are prideful guys. Don't forget too.
Okay,
if you're being told you can make it in the NBA this year, I think you're going to want to go.
How'd that work out for Markel Fultz? He's a rotation player right now. How did it work out?
There was a lot of different other issues there where they tried to rebuild his shot.
That's the worst thing they did. Yeah. But where's Anthony Bennett now? He's playing in Spain.
I still don't know how that guy got drafted number one.
I don't either. Good weed that day, 100%. Yeah, Canadians, come on. That was insane. But in any event, that's my point. People are really coming back to the notion that skills and development are better for a player in his long term for his career. Because if you're not don't have your shit together, you can get eaten up by the NBA and spit it out in 5 years.
Can we turn away from that game because it's going to spoil one of our picks?
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Philly, Seattle.
I want Montour.
Okay. They got Subban in the booth? I've never seen that before.
Oh, all the time on the Yank recordings. All the time.
I thought he was purely in studio.
No, he's in the booth.
He is in the booth, apparently.
Listen, we need black people talking about hockey, remember?
Well, I think it's more his personality than the color of his skin that's getting him these gigs.
I say it's a bit of both, and he's getting...
It doesn't hurt his case.
No, it doesn't hurt at all. But you know what? He's doing a good job.
Yeah, that's number one.
Number one. He's doing a good job. And like you said, he's got the personality. It's working out well.
Either way, anything left for college basketball?
No, I just want to say this, though. One of the things I'm watching about, if these guys are going in, one of the things is going to be really talking about is the refereeing and the timeouts and the challenges. Because in college, it's gotten really weird this year. And I love Jay Bayless when he says, I'm getting tired of watching an NCAA college basketball game where the referees are watching more TVs than they are making calls. That's quite an indictment, don't you think?
Sure.
And just as he's saying it, I'm watching a game. It took him 4 minutes to make a decision on a flagrant or non-flagrant. 4 minutes, bro. And everybody's saying that's not a flagrant. It looked violent going up in the air, but when they came down, it was incidental contact. 4 minutes, bro. 4 minutes. Game was tied.
Yeah. Well, that's probably why they took longer.
Game was tied, okay? And it was about the possession of the ball. And I get back to what it is. Everybody with a freaking gambling ticket in their hand was going, I bet you, I hope it's not flagrant. Because you know what it was one of the key guys.
Okay,
you know, it was one of the starters. Or, no, you know what it was? The guy would have fouled out, I believe. Anyways, I'm hoping that Jay Bilas is wrong because I like referees for the most part. They're pretty professional. But we've seen some crazy-ass shit going on in college this year, and we hope we don't see it in the tournament.
Hopefully not, and we'll move this over to the Major League Baseball season where Blue Jays still in Grapefruit League. Vlad this week came out and said that the final number was under 600 million.
Okay, so I like this talk for this reason. It sounds like Vladdy wants to stay. So let's give him 12 years, 500 million.
The Shatkins want to keep him, though.
Fuck those guys. You know what I mean?
Well, they run the team.
Well, no.
I'm not their biggest fan.
Listen,
you know that?
I'll count how many bubble gums go into the bubble gum machine. You go sign Vladdy. This is getting insane, okay? Now, doesn't matter because we always say what the spring training, I don't know. Did you see Bichette in spring training?
What about him?
Looking ridiculous. Just ripping the cover off the ball. Bouncing. Got the bounce in his step. Well, it always comes that way when they got a contract year coming up. He's talking like he doesn't want to go anywhere soon. So what's going on here? Show him the money or what's the deal? He said he didn't want Soto money. He understood the difference in their resumes.
Yep.
Soto had a little pause in his career 1 year, just like Vladdy did. They're both going to end up being glorified DHs because none of these guys should ever win a Gold Glove again.
I'm still baffled about that.
Both of them have won a Gold Glove. Oh, no, Soto hasn't, has he?
I don't think so.
How should he? Come on.
How did Vlad win one?
Because there was about those 6 games where he put his face in front of a ball that made the highlight film. Remember those few plays he made where he just dove? Because he was like, oh, shit, I'm out of position.
How about the other, 156 or whatever?
We don't worry about that. But remember he made about 6 highlight film plays. And you know what did get him? The one thing he does good, he throws great behind the runner. Mm-hmm. He's proven he can do that, which is always a great defensive metric, so to speak. But that's not my point. Would you take him 12 years for 500 right now?
Yeah, I would.
I would do it on opening day and then give Bo 10 for 400 right beside him. Same day. Here we go. Because the pitchers are starting to grumble a bit.
Yep.
And we are on that level where we've got 6 starters, and they're all looking good in camp. Every guy.
Good.
You know what I mean? Which we're going to need that. And the guys that are supposed to make the bullpen, like if you see the game, it's really funny. You'll see the Blue Jay game. They lose 13-7. Okay? 13-7. The 2 guys that they really wanted that look like going to the good team, they give up 3 runs, 6 innings. Then you bring in guys from Bowmanville. Light it up, brethren, light it up. And then the scores get out of hand. So I think that we're doing okay from let's take a look at how the Blue Jays are going to be because we're going to have pitching. We're going to have a modicum of defense. It's all about the sticks. What are we going to do?
Yes. And the big topic this week has been the batting order. So it looks like Vlad is going to be number 2. Santander is going to be batting 3rd. Where Bo's going to be in the lineup is still up in the air, whether or not he's going to be batting leadoff or in the number 4 hole.
Okay, so I have a proposition to make. Okay, we're already thinking about the problem with the Blue Jays is they don't have enough sticks, okay? Varsho's going to center field because he's their defensive metric. Do you expect Varsho to hit 260? No. I'm not sure. Okay, we got Springer. He's going to be in right field. Is he going to hit 260? I'm not
left
sure.
Left field maybe now.
Or maybe in left field. Whatever. He's going to be in a corner. Is he going to hit 260?
I hope.
We're not really sure. We got the new kid, not the new kid. We got the veteran at second base who's going to be the best defensive short second baseman we've seen since Riley Alomar. Is he going to hit 260? I'm not too sure. We got Kirk behind the plate. He's going to be wearing and tearing because he's going to try to play 130 games. Is he going to hit 260?
I think he's going to hit 260. He doesn't give you any power, though.
Okay, well, here we go. So now my theory is this. You got Clement at third base. The guy does everything. He's a great every day. He's a great Swiss Army guy. Is he going to give us 15 and 75? I'm not sure. So why don't we take Addison Barger, Joey
Barger,
Joey
Loperfido, yeah.
and Mr. Martinez, who missed all those games last year because he did something so his wife could have a baby or some shit. I don't know. The bullshit excuse they come up with. There's 3 guys that are all under 25 and swing big bats when they get there. They haven't had a lot of chance to be on a regular basis. Remember, they were in and out of the lineup last year? My theory is this. Get them as much bats as earlier. Well, maybe that'll put a little pressure on them. I don't know. Because then it'll put the pressure on the guys that can't hit.
Well, Martinez, we talked about this off the air. I think they're waiting until mid-May to call him up. They're going to do that fucking with
I
him.
hate that. You know what I mean? And what if we're 5 games under 500 by then?
I know.
Okay, so it's going to be there. But I think that it's time that, remember they were assets. When we traded guys, these guys had potential. They're supposed to be assets. Let's get them out there and start swinging. None of these guys hurt us defensively.
Nope.
Berger or whatever. And
Loperfido, yeah.
And he's got an arm. So let's get him out there and put him in the lineup. Like, let's just go with like a 20-game setup. Like, you're gonna hear 20 games. And by 20 games, Mark, we get Martinez up, and let's go for it. My same thing with, like, play the line in hockey. Just play the line. Play the lineup. Now, if you want to balance a little bit with Clement and somebody else and back-to-back days and get guys in the lineup, we need runs, bro.
Yeah.
We need runs. Where are we going to get them?
I don't know.
I just named 5 starters that might not hit 260. That's 5 guys not hitting 260. That means you better have the best defense and the great pitching, which I think we have. We got 6 starters.
I know.
And they're all looking good in camp, but then everybody looks good in camp. But no, I mean they are looking good. Like they're coming along the way that they should. Hoffman's looking great as a closer. The Chad Green and all those other guys look okay. So that means Rodriguez could start what's his last name? Rodriguez. He could start the season in the bullpen because I think Bowden Francis should get the shot as our 5th starter. And Scherzer's looking like freaking turning the clock back. You see him throwing in there? Whoo! The heavy fastball's looking like the heavy fastball. Ball's breaking. And all the other boys are looking good. So, pitching's always ahead of hitting at the start, did they say? I'm not sure.
That's traditional wisdom, but I don't know.
The bottom line is we see how we open the season. Did we not? Have we not discussed this? The first month of the season is absolutely, like, already just to start the season. What do we got? We open against Baltimore. Okay, we got Washington. Then we got the Mets, Boston, Baltimore, Atlanta, Seattle, Houston, Yankees. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, that's our beginning of the season, guy. You know, and so what are we going to? We got to be 500 at the end of April to have any shot at this. Look who we're playing off the top. We better have some pitching. If you look at it, Baltimore, playoff team. New York Met, playoff team. Boston, maybe the most improved team in the American League. Baltimore, again, playoff team. Atlanta, playoff team. Seattle, little better than us last year. But
I know their fans are upset about the lack of hitting acquisitions and free agency.
Oh, yeah.
And Seattle's got a big money owner. Remind you of anybody?
Okay, and then they got Houston and New York, both playoff teams. So that's their start of the season. If we're not 500 at the end of April, man, this could be a long goddamn season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like last summer.
Oh, don't even go there. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, give the fans, you know what I mean, something to talk about. Because already they're talking bullshit. And the 2 things that they're talking about the most in this season already, and you are right, they're talking about lockout.
Yeah, very real possibility, 2026.
Clark, the big guy, said if things don't change by the end of next season, the end of this season, if they don't have programs by the season, because he said that at the end of the 26th season, there'll definitely be a lockout. Baseball, in the position that you in, what, your locals got enough money? The new TV contracts have given you enough money? And I'll tell you this. The other thing when we're talking about why there's going to be a lockout is because they're going to fight about this salary cap. I believe the salary cap's not going to make it. I really do. Because what's going to happen is the guys like Rogers that are bitching and Steinbrenner bitching and the Seattle guy bitching, they're going to want a floor.
That's how all salary caps work, though.
But
so
the
I don't see that's an issue.
The floor is going to be too high for the Cincinnatis, the Tampas, the Pittsburgh, Miami maybe. We don't know because they're going to they want to make it like $150 million. How many of these teams never even have $150 million salary every
No, it's not going to be $150 million.
It's got to be $100. It's got to be 100. I mean, a lot of people say that's too low, so it's 125. Do you know how many times these teams have operated with lineups that are less than 125 million?
I know, and it's bad for the game.
Well, there you go. So that's why I don't think it's gonna be shake. Where's the voting going to come in? Because he's going to say, well, we can't operate in that level. Well, then it's capitalism. Let's go back to the way it is. Here we are. So and the players be scared of it because that affects the money that they're going to make.
I think they're going to make more money because of the floor, though.
Some say yes, some say
no,
more.
100% yeah, because it's going to force those teams that usually don't spend that much to spend to a certain level that they normally wouldn't.
Well, I think it's better for the rank and file because more guys in the middle get an opportunity to get a fair share instead of every team being top loaded.
Sure.
Because then you're going to have to look at it. We can't pay every guy $50 million a year. We can't be the Dodgers. You know what I'm saying? But that's what baseball's been all about since the beginning of time. It's the most capitalist sport in probably the world.
More than soccer?
Well, no, that's the second one. But, I mean, both of those. Because they're colonial, from colonial days. You take that any way you want.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying that, you know what? It would be good for Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. And it would be good for those in Cleveland. And the A's. Well, no, Vegas got money now. The A's are going to Vegas. That's changed.
Yeah.
But
Pittsburgh.
I think the big teams, like if you add up the big teams, you got San Fran. Rogers is always going to hit the ceiling. Don't worry about it. We got money. We just cry like bitches. We got more money than anybody. But you know when you're talking about San Fran, L.A., Philadelphia, even Washington, you can think it's Texas, Houston, both those teams. You talk about right off the top, those teams are going to say, yeah, we like this floor. And automatically it's going to count, though, because you need 60% for everything in these votes.
Yeah, like 2/3, I think.
2/3. So it's going to be very hard. Like, I think you're going to get 2/3 of the people saying, yeah, you might get a salary cap, because then they're going to say the floor is 150. Then those teams go bankrupt. There'll be less teams, more pitching to go around, and the game gets solid. How's that?
There we go.
Can't we do that in the NHL, too? Just get rid of a few teams.
No, we're going to add a few more teams in the NHL.
Stop it.
Anything else for baseball?
No, just good luck, and let's get through April. We'll be having our 2 weeks from today. Our baseball preview will be coming, which will be featuring Mr. Kevin Pick and Mr. Andrew
Recorded
Freeman.
at San Fran?
And we'll be going to San Fran. We'll be remote in San Fran. Big shout out to Bo for getting our baseball uniforms. We will also have a Sluggers preview at that time, but we've got new uniforms.
All right.
You know what I mean? And the design looks cool. Everybody's got their name on the back, and they're breathable. And you can all thank me later.
Can't wait to see it.
Yep.
We'll move us on to our PWHL report, where Toronto beat Montreal 4-1 this week, and what was a fantastic game. Natalie Spooner,
Excellent.
2 goals, including an amazing one to open things up where she batted the puck out of midair. Daryl Watts, 2 assists. Renata Foss, 2 assists. And Marie-Philippe Poulin had a goal in there for Montreal as well. But Toronto's starting to put some distance between themselves and the teams below them, which very much bodes well and very much makes us happy.
Well, I think the top 4 teams are moving away because Boston's made a stride in the last week, okay? Minnesota's frightening go on. Now, how come I haven't said this before? I'm going to get a Minnesota jersey.
You like them? I guess because they're purple.
That whole try. Why didn't I bring it up before? Because they like it's 3 levels of purple on these damn things. I just go, wow, I forgot. I don't know why I didn't bring it up before, but who were they playing the other night when they lost to Boston? I think it's their home jersey.
Yeah.
Is the home one that's a tri-level?
Yeah, the words like mainly purple, yeah.
Badass jerseys, nice color purples. I like those. But they can keep losing because Toronto goes up there. But
and we play them, tomorrow.
Huge game. Montreal, I think, you know what the big thing is? We got Natalie back. That's huge, considering right now, what do we have? In the top 10, we got 3 of the top 10 scorers in the league. Yeah. Natalie hasn't played all year. Our goaltending's solid. We were the best team in the last 10 games in the league. But
without Sarah Nurse as well.
Exactly. It's coming. But look at this now. 33, 34, 35 points still. Everybody's really close, and there's, 10 games left? 9 games left? Yeah, about 9 games. They play 32, right? Or is it 30?
It was 30, I think.
Okay, 30. So they all got about 9 games left. I can't see anybody catching Montreal, even though that was a great game the other night, and Toronto took it to them late. Like, that was a battle. Like
that was early. They got on them, though.
What's that?
They got on them early.
Yeah, but
they were up 4-0.
And then Montreal just kept coming back, but they couldn't
They could only score that one, yeah.
And you know what's interesting about Montreal? They've got all the defensive metrics, and it could catch up to when we're talking about the game. They got nobody scoring on that team.
Yeah, just Marie-Philippe.
That's what I'm saying, but they really don't have any scoring. Their back end is great. And there's a modicum of hitting in this. Are you allowed to hit?
Technically, in the women's game, no.
But they have reverse hits in that too. I know. It's girl stops.
Like you're not allowed to plow someone through the boards. They'll call that as a penalty.
But remember when we were talking about the famous reverse hits last week? I see it's prevalent in women's hockey because they just stop. They know the person's coming. And when nobody says a word because I guess a contract, and it's not too violent, ever it is.
Yeah.
But I will say this, because I kind of dissed it about the flow of the game. I guess it's getting later in the season. The teams are getting tighter, but I watched a couple games. Boston, Minnesota, the pace was great. Toronto, Montreal, pace was great. Was well worth watching. Entertaining games,
especially when they're going to come back because they have a few more games and they're going to be off for World Championships. Once they come back from that, for those final 4 games, I imagine the game quality is going to be very, very good, playoff style, basically.
I tend to disagree.
Really?
I think it won't catch up until the playoffs because it always seems when these people go for these big international tournaments, when they come back, it's a little bit of a letdown getting back, and we're seeing it in the NHL with a few of the players. Okay,
yes
so
and no.
Going because a lot of the most prominent players in this league are playing in the Worlds.
Of course,
you know what I mean, and they're going to be playing all over the place. When they come back, I don't know. I think that the playoffs will be ramped up. You're right in the respect that the standings are so close. But I always find when they come back from these international tournaments, it takes a game or two to get themselves all back, resigned. Okay, we're back to normal hockey now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also they're not exactly coming back in the dog days of the season. They're coming back for the final stretch, right?
So let's hope that. And the NHL games have picked up a bit, even though we've seen some sloppy ones to start. But and the other thing about PWHL is, and I hate to even mention this, is that where's Boston come from? I was thinking they were one of the teams that's going to fall off the face of the earth, and they're not. They're right there. Now, Ottawa,
no, it looks like it's going to be the same 4 teams in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, but Boston and Toronto have been the 2 hottest teams in the league in the last 10 games. Because Boston was down there fight with Ottawa and New York.
Yeah, they were last for a good chunk of the season, I want to say.
They've come roaring back, and they look good. The pace of their game has gotten much better. I always like to look, though, at the goal differentials. That's, me. That's my little bugaboo. And most of these teams have now got positive goal differentials. So
look
it
at
makes
that.
for better hockey. Anyways, I was thinking about getting a Toronto Scepter because I'm in the city, but it's going to be tough for me not to try to get one of those Minnesota. And I'm going to get one. And I'm going to get, of course, got to get the Prince logo on it.
Oh, okay.
That's the main reason they got the purple. Come on.
Of course.
That. All good. Pay attention, though. I really think the playoffs are going to be good. And they're going to be on just before the playoffs start in the NHL. Or around that little bit.
Around
the same time. So pay attention because they could be good games. I'm actually hoping that they televise a bunch of the girls' World Championship games.
Oh, those are always on TV. TSN carries that.
I'll be taking a look at that.
Yep. So Toronto is in action tomorrow against Minnesota, and then their next game after that is March 19th versus New York.
Good luck, Scepters, and keep playing well.
Absolutely, and we will take this over to our soccer report where Toronto FC is back in action today at Cincinnati FC. That'll be on at 7:30 tonight. Although I think I'm going to be watching something else at that time.
Me too. No, my game's later. Isn't your game later too?
No, 7 o'clock Leafs tonight.
With Colorado? Those Western teams getting pissed about that, eh?
It's a 5 o'clock start there. They can chill.
Because you're a Leaf fan. That's the
I don't mind. Even if the games are like that here, I wouldn't mind. Saturday? What else do I got to do?
If they started making you go up to 5 o'clock on a game on Saturday, this city would freaking go nuts. Well, we got to start at 5. Are you nuts? Move the game back.
I wouldn't mind.
Stop it.
Well, they have Blue Jays games like that on the weekends.
That's a 162 game schedule.
Stop. Oh my God.
I'm just saying this. I'm starting to get teams are dissing about it, and it's true. Toronto shows up, and Toronto's on the road. They get treated like they're at home.
That's money.
It's easy for you to say when you're a Leaf fan. Biased Toronto Maple Leaf.
I'm pretty sure Montreal gets some of that on weekends
no,
too.
We played at 9 o'clock against Edmonton. We're playing on Edmonton time. We're playing on Colorado time. It's only Toronto the good. You wonder why people can't stand the team.
So maybe it's because we're the mecca of the hockey world.
Oh, you're killing me now. And then wonder why I have no empathy when they get their asses kicked like they did in Vegas the other night.
I'm not asking for it. Anyway, this isn't hockey time. This is soccer talk right now.
Right, okay, we're jumping the fence. Can't wait to get to
the
hockey.
Big game in Premier League this week is Nottingham Forest versus Manchester City. That is on today.
What time is it? Look at that. I even got that down here. I got it on my sheet.
I believe it's going on right now.
On DAZ?
On DAZN?
I tried to get it on.
No, it's not on. Premier League's not on DAZN.
But it's on here somewhere.
Anyways.
Can't find it. That's the game of the day.
Yeah.
Easily. And it's already on?
I believe so.
Shit. Okay.
Oh, no, it's over.
Who won?
Nottingham Forest won 1-0.
Oh, Man City's in big trouble again, those schmucks. What are they doing? I can't believe it.
I can.
Wow. So that's a huge game.
Yeah, so Nottingham Forest now has a 4-point lead over Manchester City for third.
Yep.
Chelsea now is 1 point back in Manchester City for that final Champions League spot with a game in hand. Liverpool comfortably at the top of the table, 70 points. Arsenal, who's in second place, 16 points behind with 9 games to go. So, I mean, a couple more wins and basically Liverpool has it locked up.
Oh, I think they're going to go there. Another big game was Brighton and Fulham. And Brighton won that one, eh?
Yeah.
That was a huge game, too, when it comes to look at the standings. Wow. But Man City's still in the hunt, and Everton's going nowhere.
No. They're going to be mid-table.
Yeah,
at best.
At best. They said they'd be hot. But look at Chelsea's right on. There's a lot to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I've got it down to Bournemouth. I think all of those teams got a chance at it. You know what I mean? Do you think Aston Villa can come in the back door?
Well, they're going to be focusing on Champions League, so we'll see. It's going to be interesting for them.
But you don't want to put aside the chance to go to the championship next year. They got games to play. They've come down.
Yeah, but Champions League, it's a big purse for every round that you win.
I agree, but then if they don't make it to the top 4, then they don't go back next year, do they?
They're already like pretty far back. So
I looked at their schedule though, because I heard some English guy talking about TV manipulating your way through the schedule, and Aston Villa seems to have one of those advantageous schedules coming down the way, and they did win today, didn't they?
Did they?
Yeah, so they're really they're only 4 points behind Man City.
No, they're playing right now. They're tied 0-0.
Okay, but if they win today, they got 46 points.
45.
45, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. They'll have 45 points.
We'll see, but there's a bunch of teams above them that still have to play too. So
and a bunch are going to play there. Anyway, I think the English Premier League is like one of the tightest leagues and most entertaining right now because that scramble there. Even though Liverpool is going away. And Arsenal, them Gunners been good lately.
Well, they've been Jekyll and Hyde since the calendar turned over, so we'll see. In City A, the game of the weekend for me is Juventus versus Atalanta. That will be on tomorrow. Looking at the table, Inter 1 point above Napoli for first place. Atalanta is 2 points behind Napoli. And Juventus is 3 points behind Atalanta. So those top 4 teams all within 6 points of each other. Then Lazio is only 2 points out of that final Champions League spot.
It is tight.
Very tight. AC Milan, my team, just keeps falling further and further.
What's going on there, bro?
They fired their coach. That seems to be a bad move. In La Liga, Barcelona versus Osasuna is my matchup of the week that is going on today. It starts at 3 p.m., so a couple hours away for that one. Barcelona, top of the table right now, 57 points. Atletico's a point back of them. Real Madrid is 2 points back of Atletico. So those top 3 all within 3 points of each other. And then Athletic is in that final Champions League spot at 48 points. So it's basically a 3-way battle for first right now in La Liga.
That's going to be a good race taking its way home.
Yep. In the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich has an 8-point lead with 9 games left to go. So a little bit of runway there, but I think they should still comfortably win that.
They may be the best team in the world still. They just played Leverkusen and they slapped them.
Who is that?
That number 2.
In Champions League, you're saying?
Yeah, so they're gonna slap them again too. So they're like, who in this league's gonna beat them?
No.
Nobody.
But their league isn't as big as it probably should be.
They're coasting. Didn't you tell me they rest players for this game, then they rest players for this game? Well, every game that I've noticed,
I've seen more dominant Bayern Munich teams in the past.
Oh, probably. And you're more versed in it than I am. But I'm going to see when they come there. Didn't you bet on them to win it all?
No, Barcelona.
Oh, you bet Barcelona. Oh, that's good. If they get that far, that'll be a great game.
Yeah.
I'll take the Germans. For 200, Alex.
I think Bayern Munich's going to lose in the next round. That's my prediction of Champions League.
Really?
Yeah. We'll get to that a little bit later.
We don't even know who they're playing yet.
Doesn't matter. They'll play
They're
someone
pull
good.
it out of the hat, right? Let's do the hat part 3. Come on.
And then in
Why do they get the cat in the hat to do it? Then it'd be more interesting.
Okay.
Thing 1 pulls out one. Thing 2 pulls out the. Okay, sorry.
in Ligue 1, PSG has a 16-point lead with 9 games left to go over Marseille. So much like Liverpool, they got this one pretty much wrapped up.
No drama there.
But of course, the big news this week was Champions League. It was leg 1 of the round of 16. I guess we'll just go game by game.
Okay, so can I start?
Sure.
I know some shit. How did Barcelona win when they had a guy with a red card, 6 minutes into the game?
22 minutes in.
22. A lot of game left. And they did that really cool defense and then counterattack. Really cool. So, in my opinion, this was in Barcelona, right?
No, it was not.
Oh, it was in Benfica?
Yeah.
So they're going home. So to me, Barcelona is going on guaranteed.
So they won 1-0. Rafinha had the goal in the 61st minute.
Very, very nice goal, by the way. But so when you first look at that game, we could go on, don't even talk no more. Benfica, it's been nice. Bye-bye. Next, my boys, Fenwood. How did they freaking lose?
They got outshot, outpossessed. I don't.
But they had great chances when they just didn't took them in. It doesn't matter now. I thought
they're down 2-0 and they got to go to Milan next game.
It's over. Inter's going to finish him at home, probably bitch slap and take him home. But did you see the highlights of that game?
Yeah, I did.
They had chances. They could have been up 2 or 3-0 because they didn't start scoring the goals so late. It was tied for 50 minutes or something, 40 minutes. It took a long time to get there, and then they still had their chances. I mean, you know what it is? I think this possession time's a little bit fucking bullshit, too, about soccer. It's like shot attempts in hockey. Yeah, if you boot the ball around the middle of the thing and keep control of it, you got possession. So what? What did you do?
Well, you're keeping the ball away from the other team. They can't score when you have the ball.
What is this, NCAA basketball, 1978? No clock? Some of this
soccer.
I was watching. They were talking about possession time. I watched the other game. Which one? It was one of the Champions League games. And I was watching it. And I'll tell you who it was. Was it Arsenal? No. Yeah, it was Aston Villa. They ended up winning, didn't they?
Yeah, 3-1.
Yeah, they won 3-1. Once they got up, they booted around the middle for a couple days. And they had possession time.
They lost the possession battle, though, actually.
Well, at the end, because, the other guys got nuts, and they just said, fuck you, and went going forward. So that's why it changes. So I think that number's a little deceiving at times, just from the games
Well, you got to look at that with shots on goal, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I like more chances. You know what I mean? All the metrics would tell you that Inter Milan won this game easily. When you see the highlights, no, Fenwood had maybe even
Feyenoord,
whatever they're called. They had some high quality chances that they missed. That came in, but doesn't matter over there. But anyways, that time there goes. Continue. We don't even have to talk about Arsenal because they just kicked the shit out of those guys. So
they beat PSV 7-1. PSV hit the crossbar in the 15th minute, then Arsenal scored the winner 6 minutes later.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm wondering if they did convert that first goal, if it would have been a different game.
7-1?
Completely different. It completely changed the complexion of that game. It was 2 quick goals, and then it was right after he hit the crossbar, 2 quick goals. That's a backbreaker.
I agree, but then it just seemed like the air went out of the balloon a little slower than usual. That's all I seen there. So what chance? That series is over.
Yeah, definitely.
They're going on. I wonder who
they're going back to London too.
Exactly. So that one's gone there. We already mentioned Aston Villa. Their Club Brugge. They're going back to their house though.
I mean, Aston Villa.
I can't see them losing.
They had help from an own goal and a penalty there too.
Yes. And then the other game too, someone blocked a penalty shot, which was huge, so it kept the aggregate down on there too. But I think Aston Villa is going on. That's done. That's one. Arsenal will be going on. Now, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid might have been the best game. Do you think it was?
Probably was. Real Madrid won that one 2-1 at home.
At home.
But now they got to go back to Atletico.
So that's still up in the air for me, and I'm kind of still betting on Atletico to go there. But the pace of that game was amazing. And the possession was pretty easy. But what happens, you know what, does this make me a hypocrite? Because sometimes these soccer guys rip the ball, but they just miss. So that's a shot attempt.
Well, it's just called a shot in soccer.
A shot, yeah, whatever it is going to be. I respect that more than when a guy takes a 9-iron from the blue line and puts it in the 4th row. Okay, it's way different. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when you're trying to get the trajectory of the ball to go to those top corners, it's physics. The ball's moving a little different, so you miss. But what are you missing it by? If you had started your kick 2 degrees inside, you would have got it. Another science about kicking the ball when they say it. I don't know. A lot. Everything's physics and math. But you know what I mean? I respect the shot attempt more in soccer.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes the guys rip it. Like, what do they miss by?
You see that in hockey too, though.
Yeah, but hockey's a lot of times it's in the stands, off the glass. Stop it. Different game.
Well, that's because it gets deflected most of those times. Bayern Munich beat Leverkusen 3-0. Kane had the brace, a.k.a. 2 goals, and Musiala had a goal in there as well.
Good goal from him. He's a good player.
Yeah, they got to go. Sorry? Musiala?
Yeah.
I remember he was one of your favorites from Euro Cup.
Yeah, I seen him again. I go, I like this guy. He's really good.
One of the top playmakers in the world.
He dances. That guy gets the ball. He dances. He was all over the highlight film when you watch him. He was doing everything. They're done though. And look at their.
I mean, they're going back to Leverkusen, but Bayern just has to hang on. So
yeah, so that's what they'll do, and they're going to slap them anyway, just to remind them because they're both German teams.
Yeah,
they'll just slap them to say, look, you're not ready for prime time yet. So I expect that series Bayern Munich will go on, which is going to make that round of 8 interesting if they got to pull them out of the hat.
Well, now that it's getting to the point where there's nowhere to hide, right?
Exactly. But you don't get it on merit. You get it on the cat in the hat. Come on. Okay, keep going. Dortmund.
Yeah, they drew Lille 1-1 in Dortmund, so now they go back to Lille. So advantage Lille, I guess.
Yes, I was there. But that was a very tight game, very boring.
Yeah, probably the least eventful one there.
Because they were both playing they were both so cautious. You know what I mean? But then again, they're going to get beat. I don't care who they are. When they come out, who they're going to play in the next round. They're going to pull it out of the hat. They'll be done.
But probably the most surprising game, one of the most exciting games, was PSG losing at home to Liverpool 1-0, despite PSG outshooting Liverpool 27-2 and 10 shots to 1 on goal.
I know. But
Elliott
that goalie was outstanding.
Yeah, Elliott scoring the winner in the 87th minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was late. Like it was 87. Yeah, 87th minute. Yeah, I even got it written down here. See what a soccer guy I become. So imagine the tenseness in that game was outrageous.
PSG
and the fans were going nuts because they had 2 or 3 great chances. Who's that guy that plays forward on is it? It's not Mbappe, is it?
Salah?
Oh, yeah.
On Liverpool?
No, who's the guy, the top guy on PSG?
Oh, man.
That guy had chances to beat the fucking band. He just couldn't get a goal. Like, I felt...
Dembele?
Yeah. Is he Brazilian?
He's French.
That guy had fucking a dozen chances. Couldn't put it in, but that was a great game. I think this is to Liverpool's advantage because all they got to do is tie at home now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what
they'll probably win that game anyways.
They'll probably, because it will be at home. But that's what's kind of weird about soccer because that's what I learned about 50 years ago. Sometimes when you get like that, it's all about possession because you'll kick it around for 20 minutes just to win on aggregate. That's another thing about the game I don't like. That's why I like this game with Liverpool and PSG. 87th minute, nobody scored. That's madness, man. Like you're going as opposed to Dartmouth and those other guys at 1-1 who kicked it around the middle of the field, just trying to play defense. At least in the other game, PSG and Liverpool, they were going for it.
Yeah,
and you could see it on the field. But anyways, we don't get the next games until next week.
It's this coming week.
This coming week we'll have it. So we'll have the decision. They'll pull the names out of the hat.
I believe on Friday. I believe on Friday is the draw.
Did they put that on TV?
They do.
I'm going to watch that just
do.
to throw darts at it. Any event, it's going to be some good soccer. It's going to be some good soccer. Definitely. Keep your eyes open.
We'll move this on to the NBA, where we will start off with our newest edition of the Power Rankings.
Okay, do you want to go first?
Sure.
All right.
Number 10, a team that we thought had fallen off, but has actually looked pretty good since the deadline, the Golden State Warriors. Number 9, your Detroit Pistons. Number 8, the Houston Rockets. Number 7, the New York Knicks. Number 6, the Milwaukee Bucks. Number 5, the Denver Nuggets. Number 4, the LA Lakers. Number 3, the Boston Celtics. Number 2, the Oklahoma City Thunder. And number 1, they've won their last 12 games in a row now, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, and I looked at their schedule too.
12 games in a row is 12 games in a row.
This is the problem with, you know what? You fell right into that trap. You put Golden State in there.
At number 10.
They don't believe number 10. Why? Because they get, you know what? You know what's going to make...
Well, what's happened? Like, Memphis has been crap. I had to take them off my list.
I put the Grizzlies in. Ours is pretty well the same, except we took that on. The Grizzlies and Rockets are in trouble, but I've got Pistons at 10, Rockets at 9, Grizzlies at 8, Bucks at 7, Knicks at 6. I could put either one of those 3 teams around because the Grizzlies are in trouble. I don't know what's going on.
That's
with
why I
that team
took
with
them
the
out.
lineup. They're kind of weird. But I'll just tell you about Golden State Warriors in a minute. I'm sick of those schmucks. Then the top 5 is pretty well the same, a little bit different order. Nuggets at 5, Lakers at 4. I have the Cavs at 3. I'm glad they have this 12-0 run. And picking up DeAndre Hunter from Atlanta was huge. It makes them better. But when it comes to a 7-game series, I almost put the Celtics in number 1 because it looks like the Celtics are on cruise control. And OKC, people are coming at them now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they've had the fight. Like they beat Memphis, they lose to Minnesota, but they're going to be solid. But those are the 5s there. Now let's get back to this Golden State thing. Okay? Now there's been a lot of talk this week, okay? One of the things that's really come up in the NBA this week is a whole talk about people saying, everybody glorifies the past too much, so you're forgetting about the greatness of now. You've heard all that scuttlebutt, right?
No.
Oh, I can't even turn on a show anywhere. PTI, name them all. They're all arguing about because it's all about Jordan. It's all about Kobe. It's all about Shaq, okay? Because what had happened with the 4 nations, ratings being down, all the threes, style of the game, guys bitching, etc., etc., etc. Now, I agree with this to a point. OKC and Cleveland are having seasons of the ages, okay? Golden State farts. What smell is it? Oh, the Lakers went and got a new car. What style of car is it? Why? And that's why that pisses me off more. So you've got a real good story. You got OKC. These guys are playing amazing. Cavaliers just had 12 games in a row. They don't get near the headlines as these other teams, no matter what they do, and it drives me crazy. Now, here's what's really making me.
Well, there's a lot of factors that go into that.
It's TNT. It's ESPN. Who do we?
Well, it's also the markets they play in.
Okay, Golden State's just been a glory team in the last 10 years. When I was a kid, nobody was rushing to see Golden State. They promoted the
that's changed.
Okay, that's a good thing. I'm saying,
and they're a big market team too.
Okay, so why do they got to shove it down our throats because they got Jimmy Butler? Fuck you. Cleveland's been a much more better team. They're a better story. OKC's got the MVP. They've been playing consistently all year. Look at their record. But, Golden State got Jimmy Butler. They got a chance at another one. Did you see Steph score 50? This is magical. Can't wait to the playoffs. Fuck you. You're force-feeding us shit that's not necessarily not fair.
Well, if Golden State goes on a run.
They are going to go on a run, but they're going to get their asses kicked in the playoffs. Look what's happened for Golden State.
I'm talking about in the playoffs, what if they go on a run.
They ain't going on no run. You heard it here first. They're not big enough. They're going to get knocked over. Jimmy Butler's going to win a couple games, and they're going to get knocked on their ass. Goodbye. Thank you. Get out. You know why they're going to go run? This is what, okay? Now all of a sudden they've moved into what place? This is what drives me crazy. I believe. Okay, so now they've moved up to 6 because they got Jimmy Butler, which is great. Okay, because they want to make the playoffs. They want to be serious about things. And they've got like, those 4 teams are supposed to be, if you're talking a month ago, like when the new year turned around, Golden State was behind Minnesota, LA, Sacramento, and Dallas. But that's another story. We're here today. We're in the moment. But now, this is going to glorify Golden State every day because, by the way, let's see who they get to play. Today, they play Detroit. Okay, but look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 game homestand. And they have a good home record. So they got Detroit today. Odds are, who would you be betting on? What's Vegas saying? They got to be a favorite, right?
Let's see what the odds are. Golden State 5.5 point favorite.
There you go. Okay, who do they play after that at home? Portland. Okay. Who do they play after that? Sacramento. Okay. Now they got the Knicks, but they got the Knicks at home. So they're about there. Now they got a tough game. They got to play Denver.
Okay.
Then they got Toronto. Then they've got Milwaukee. So let's just say out of those 7 or 8 games, there are going to be 3 that are competitive. The other 4, they're going to be clear 4, 5, 6 point favorite. They're going to go on that run there, and they're going to be 7-2, and everyone's going to say, Golden State is back. Meanwhile, Cleveland could go another 5 games, be 17-0, and who they're going to be talking about? That's what I call the discrepancy.
Okay, but you're talking
on
on both sides of your mouth because I give Cleveland the number one seed in the power rankings. You're giving me shit for that.
No,
so I don't know what you're going at.
Okay, so I'm going to give you this. I'm saying I'm glad you gave Cleveland that love, but I'm saying that everyone falls into the Golden State trap, just like the Lakers. And we have to respect the Lakers.
You have to respect the Lakers, though.
Respect the Lakers, but it's a little bit different thing. But I'm just looking at they jumping on this personality, cult of personality, a little too quick for me. You know what I mean? And the timing's perfect because they've won what is their last 10? They're pretty good. They're 8-2. And then now look what they're next to 8. They're going to look even better because of the competition. And suddenly they're going to get up there and they probably will climb past Houston. I don't know if they'll get past Memphis. So what'll they get in the first round? It'll be amazing.
You never know.
They'll get Denver. Wouldn't that be great? Denver and Golden State in the first round? Denver crushes them in 5 games.
Denver's the number 3 seed, though.
Okay, so what if Golden State ends up number 6? 3 plays.
I think they're going to pass Houston, maybe Memphis as well. So they play one of those teams in the first round.
That's what everyone loves. We get Golden State. We get the Golden Boy, greatest shooter of all time. My point is this. Sometimes what you should do is, if you really want your league to go forward and you really want to sell it, okay, what Steph Curry, LeBron James, and all those guys Durant brought to the league last 10 years, let's not deny it. It's been great. We've seen some great basketball. Basketball is having a little bit of a downturn right now. And what are they relying on? We got to get the old guys. What about, no, you could sell Shea. You know what I mean? That's a great team. Look at the whole Cleveland team. You could sell that. Why don't they do it? Is it because of the markets, are you saying?
I think that's a big reason.
I think it's bullshit, man. I want the best players doing the best things. But if you're the first one, I will have to admit, and this is where I'm hypocritical. If you have LA, Boston in the finals, and you have Cleveland, Oklahoma City in the finals, where are the ratings going to be better? So, but I'm just saying.
Well, it's also up to these teams too, like Oklahoma City, like the Cleveland. Like, you got to make runs in the playoffs if you want eyes on you.
Agreed.
End of the story.
I agree.
Why do you think we're still talking about like LeBron and Durant and Curry and these guys? Because they did in the playoffs.
Okay, they're going to be there, but what have they done the last couple of years in the playoffs besides nothing?
Well, LeBron's got a championship in the last 5 years.
Okay, so that's 5 years ago. Same with Golden State.
Curry's got a championship 3 years ago.
Okay, well, now we're here right now. 3 years is a long time ago when it comes to the NBA, right?
It is and it's not.
Okay, so
still fresh in people's minds.
Okay, so anyways.
God damn, the bubble championship, people still won't shut up about it.
Oh, I wish they would. But the NBA is just based on being drama queens. That's the most important thing. And what's one of the biggest stories this week in the NBA? LeBron telling Stephen A. Smith to shut the fuck up. Look where that trended. What's that got to do with anything in the sports? But the NBA can just keep bringing those stories out to get there. It's got nothing
because
to do
it's
with
LeBron and Stephen A. Smith. It's two of the most divisive figures in the whole sport.
Polarizing figures in the whole sport. So here we go. But I'm saying that shouldn't be the story.
No, I didn't even want to bring that up, to be honest.
Well, I had to throw it in there to make my point. See, there's too much other dramas that come up when we should be concentrating more about what's our thing about there. Is Jason Tatum not the most quietest superstar?
Can I ask you something then?
Sure.
Then why don't we just talk about, instead of you bitching about it every week on the show?
So what are you saying?
Just talk about these guys then, instead of complaining about the media.
That's why I'm bringing them up.
Okay, but it's the same conversation every week, though.
Okay, so from now on, when we come in, I'm only going to talk about the contenders because that's my point. I look at our top guys. Who do you have? You got OKC up there,
number 2.
Okay, we want to be up there. You got Cleveland at number 1. Okay, so we are trying to go down that road. So what we're trying to tell everybody, and I think in my opinion, maybe I got a little off track here, is let's pay a little bit more attention to the contenders there so you'll recognize the Mobleys. You'll recognize the Wallaces. You'll recognize the Dorts. You'll understand the Jared Allens because these are the new guys that are going to be around for the next few years, and they're playing the best basketball in the league. And we're going to talk about a couple other personalities that are having a pissing match. That's what drives me crazy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I still believe that some of these matchups in the playoffs are going to be so good that once again the NBA is going to get away with this shit. It drives me crazy. Hockey doesn't get away with that.
It's niche.
I hate when you say that, but
it's true though.
A little bit more. But okay, how many times are you going to tell me this and you know it's true because you've been watching sports more, a lot more, paying attention a little bit more. How many times have I said this, and I'll take it to the bank? NBA game on, NHL game on. 9 out of 10 times the NHL game is a better quality watch on a highly competitive level on many nights. Now, it does get better now towards the end of the NBA season because of the jockeying and all that kind of shit. But you got to wait a whole season to get there. They've been scrapping in the NHL all season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting at. So I want the highest level of competition. I want to talk about the best teams in the league. I want to go forward. So you're right. You've called me out, and I'm going to do it. So guess what? Fuck you, LeBron, Curry, all you fuckers. I'm only going to talk about my other guys that should be playing.
Well, LeBron is very much in the news now just because his team has been doing incredibly.
What? And look at Dallas.
Oh, Kyrie done for the season.
Oh. They don't even know you know what they're going to try to do, and they were going to try to limp to the playoffs to get AD ready for the playoffs in there.
No, now they're going to miss the play-in.
And they're also missing, what's the other guy, the kid that got hurt? One of their rotation players that's played really good. But anyway, they got 3 main guys out. Dallas, you're done. Do you feel something?
Are you talking about Hardy?
Yes. Yeah, see, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. Sorry, Clay.
Yeah. Phoenix, I think, is going to pass him for the play, and I think Phoenix is going to limp in there.
It's another team. I didn't want to talk about them, so we should be talking about the worst family on the street? Come on. And it's going to get there. You know what I'm saying? The angles on other sports seems to go a different way. I guess it's because it's smaller players. People can have more control over the situation in a shorter period of time, become more dominant. We see them more. I get it. But let's talk about the winners, not about people that, potential. But the word around the campfire is everyone's saying if Luka and LeBron play anybody, they can beat them in a 7-game series.
Especially considering the defensive metrics of the Lakers. They've been very strong under J.J. Redick, who you criticized to hell.
I'm not a big fan, but I got to give him credit, especially for the defense that he's put in that showed up. I have to give him credit. Their rotation is much better, and they've had to play that weather because they got no bigs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they play that outside. And guess what?
And they're number 2 in the West now.
Yeah, and not only that, they're not living and dying by the 3.
Yeah.
My theory once again, if you look at the best teams in the league, they don't live and die unless you're a team that's got 2 guys that are 44 points a night and they're not named Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum.
Yeah, White and Pritchard scoring 40 points each for the Celtics the other night. Insane.
And just the way guys were feeding them, and you know what I mean? That's why I hate the Celtics. But I think we should talk about them because they're going to be trying to get they're going to try to repeat.
I think it's going to be a Lakers-Celtics final.
Did you just hear everybody at TSN and ESPN? They just jumped 20 feet in the air. They all just went, thank you. Milani, we love you. I'm hoping one of those teams like OKC really shows their mettle because they got smacked last year. They should have beat Minnesota. They got caught off guard. They were deer in headlights.
I think they're going to lose in the conference final.
To the Lakers?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's get the rest of the season out. We'll be able to do our playoff predictions then, and I'm just going to be a schmuck. I can't wait.
SGA MVP, is it just completely tied up now?
100%. One of the things that we should be talking about is, especially around the city because we're Toronto-centric, don't get mad because the frickin' Raptors are winning games.
Who's getting mad?
You hear people saying, well, they're getting further and further away from the lottery.
Okay, they changed the lottery rules where, the difference between, 3rd last, 4th last, 5th last, it's so minuscule.
So shut up. Yeah, let them play. Let them be competitive. Let's see what these guys can do together.
We beat Utah, whatever.
Okay.
Utah
we beat Orlando,
too.
though.
Yeah.
Orlando is going to turn out.
Orlando's a bit of a weird team because of the injuries, right?
I don't know, but I think that at the end of the season that Orlando, even though they'll probably make the play-in, besides Philadelphia, they'll be considered the
most disappointing team.
Oh yeah.
In the East, at least.
In the East, yeah, they'll be most disappointing. Well, Phoenix is going to be the most disappointing team in the league.
I think Philly is the most disappointing just because of how bad they've been. 21-41 record. That, for a team that we thought was going to be, top 3, top 4 in the East?
Okay, so that means that the general manager of Philadelphia should be on his way out the door any time now.
Yeah, because at least Phoenix, they're only a few games below 500 for as bad as they've been.
They don't even talk to each other until it's time to drop the thing.
And in a much tougher conference. So despite all that, they've still been hanging around in there. So in the realm of disappointing, Philly takes the cake, and it's not even close.
You're right. Especially too, and Paul George hasn't played up to his usual standard, so it's completely out of control. I'm saying this: they just gave fucking Embiid a 3-year extension last year. What the hell was that guy thinking? Are you out of your mind? And then what's his name? Nico Collins, is that, or Nico, whatever his name, the general manager of frickin' Dallas, he's on his way out of town and within 18 months.
Ooh.
They're gone. They're gone. They gambled and they lost.
Well, I mean, that one seemed like a little bit of an ownership one, kind of like pushing them to make that Doncic trade, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely something going on there. And Mark Cuban's completely blindsided. So, like, I mean, he sold all those shares to make money. Then they didn't let him back in the room. Obviously.
That's how it tends to go.
You heard Cuban talk lately?
Yeah.
What? Really? Well, I was there. Holy cow! So I'm just saying, whatever is a new brain trust at the Mavericks, they're completely circled the wagons amongst the 4 or 5 that are talking, and that's it. You know, I feel sorry for them though too, because I really wanted to see what they would battle with their young guys, the Kyrie, AD, and Clay. They would have been a freaking battle ready one. Now we're not going to see for another year, and they might be too old, and we'll never know.
In the words of Kanye West, I guess we'll never know.
I guess we'll never know. But we'll be back to this NBA and the bitches extravaganza because things are tightening up, and hopefully the level of competition will go up. I love the scuttlebutt about coming from all angles, why the NBA is this, that, or the other thing. Ultimately, I hope it improves everything. That's the game, You know what I mean? Because the bitching on both sides, from the old, the new, what's going on, the ratings, the contracts, players calling it a piggy bank, something's got to shift a certain way to get out of that smoke. You know what I mean? Because the league seems to be in a foul. So what do? They get the Lakers-Boston 7-game series, goes overtime, greatest series of all time. We forget about all the bullshit. Drives you crazy.
Anything else for basketball?
No, we've had enough.
We will move this into the NHL and its crazy trade deadline, but before that, and we'll try and keep this around 45 minutes. But before that, we will get into our power rankings. Cruz, I will lead off, I guess, this time. Or no, I guess you lead off this time. I started basketball.
Okay. Isn't it too bad about Jack Hughes? But anyways.
Yeah, too bad. Done for the season.
You know what? He's only played more than 60 games once.
I know.
Anyways, I'll get to that. I just feel weird about that and how he was absent in the
Four Nations
because it got a little crazy. Questions. We'll get to that. Anyway, number 10 on my power list, Colorado Avalanche.
Okay.
Number 9, and they will be on the rise again, but I'm going to go to the Milani school of what have they done for me lately. So it's number 9 is the Edmonton Oilers. Number 8, Carolina Hurricanes. Number 7, the Florida Panthers. Number 6, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Number 5, Tampa Bay Lightning, your favorite team. Number 4, Washington. Number 3, I've got Dallas. Number 2, Vegas. And, of course, if you don't have Winnipeg number 1, you're not watching the league.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I guess I spoiled my number 1, but my number 10 is the Edmonton Oilers.
Okay.
I got Carolina at 9.
Okay.
I got Colorado at 8. Toronto is 7. Tampa Bay 6.
Florida 5.
Vegas 5.
Oh,
Florida 4.
Oh.
Washington 3. Dallas 2. And, of course, number 1, Winnipeg.
I was very close to putting Dallas in there, and especially they've got Rantanen, but we haven't seen him play. But I've heard some interesting talk about how it goes, like losing the playoffs and stuff. And the reason I'm keeping Washington, they'll probably higher my rankings is that one thing you got to understand about Washington, they made those 3 crucial moves in the offseason that didn't seem like a lot, but that built the character on the team, so they got depth on the lines. Yep. It's their style of play. Like that travel.
They will smother you.
Oh, they skate all night. They got one speed. That's all they got. And there's nothing wrong with that, considering that their defense core has held up and played a little bit stronger than last year. Yep. And a couple of young guys have
much stronger.
But they you know what I say, when the players make the next step and you see it? Go look at Washington. They've got 4 or 5. The additions were huge. Didn't kill their salary cap.
No, especially Chikrin and Dubois and the goalie, Thompson.
Oh, there you go, right there. And all 3 of them have upgraded from the season before. And the guys that they had last year that snuck them into the playoffs, they've gotten a year better.
Yeah,
they've all matured.
Guns, yeah,
they've all become 1 year better. And let's not underestimate. We got to say, go Ovi, grade 8.
10 away.
10 away. Let's do this.
10 away from Gretz.
Yes, let's get it over this season because it'll be a drag if we drag it on all the way over to the next season. You know what I mean? So
No, that's not going to happen.
a lot of times they say you got to lose in the playoffs. Like right away, like Winnipeg should be comfortable because Winnipeg's had that bad first round rep in the last little while. They shouldn't have it this year. They'll crush whoever they play in the first. Who are they going to get?
Who's the wild cards? Who is it going to look like?
Doesn't matter. There should be no reason now. It's happened before.
Okay, in the wild card, it's Minnesota or like Vancouver or Calgary. That's more likely like Vancouver, Calgary, or St. Louis. They should win.
That's what I'm saying.
Mind you, St. Louis recently has looked pretty good.
Yeah, but they gave up a couple of pieces, so it doesn't sound like they're taking it seriously enough.
Who they give up though?
Didn't they give up? Where did Loughton come from? No, he came from Philadelphia.
They kept Shen. They kept Parayko.
Did they keep Shen?
They kept him because they were doing so well.
They did. They gave up a defenseman though, didn't they?
None of their big guys.
Well, then
I think St. Louis is like I don't know if they're gonna like go deep or anything, but if they sneak a first round upset, don't call me surprised.
So if they get in 8th and they play Winnipeg, do you think they got a fighting chance because of Bennington maybe?
And just the style that team plays.
Perhaps maybe, but Winnipeg's got to win in the first round. They got
I agree. If they lose again in the first round, that's a disaster.
Okay,
especially considering that they're like world beaters this season, right?
That's Toronto Maple Leaf territory. They'll start treading.
No, Toronto doesn't even come close to winning the President's Trophy. But
okay, but in any event,
this is more embarrassing.
This is where it's going. But anyways, I can't see them going. That's the main thing. Like you always hear this stuff about a team's got to lose a bit before they win. And I'm going, yeah, because I see how Washington's playing now, and a team's got to rise up. I think it's your medal.
Well, hold on, though, because like we've seen teams that like run away with the President's Trophy. The last
Boston 2 years ago.
Tampa Bay a few years before that.
Tampa Bay
Detroit 96, another famous example of that.
I got you. But in this case, like Winnipeg, those guys got bushwhacked. Winnipeg's had the last couple of years where they puked it up early, especially against the Kings. So now it's their time to go forward.
Well, you mean Colorado last year.
It was Colorado and LA the year
because LA always gets smacked by Edmonton in the first round.
That's that game. Okay, I got it mixed up. But you know what I'm saying. In any event, I think that Washington's built a little bit different in the fact that they've got Ovi, they've got Tom Wilson, they got Carlson, they got a few veteran guys that go with them that I think that they're not going to be a team that can be pushed around. So I'm thinking by the time of the end of the year, they could be ranked a little bit higher in my power rankings because they consistently, every time you give a doubt about them, they come back and they hit you harder. And they're just a good team, and they got good goaltending, and they got 4 good horses on defense that go forward. I'm really, I'm just like in Vegas. Main reason I'm in Vegas in there because they're freaking Vegas. You know what I mean? And you see the size of that team?
Oh, yeah, they're big.
And they just come at you in waves, too. So I can't see them not being discounted, considering their record, their reputation, what they've done in the last while. I have to consider them as one of those teams when the playoffs start. Like, are you not going to consider Vegas one of the teams to beat? And
of course they are.
And if Vegas plays Winnipeg, say, in the conference final, who are you going to bet on? We'll have to see
Vegas.
who's going to go there. Okay. So
I don't think Winnipeg's going to make it to the conference final. I don't think.
One round and done?
Yeah.
Then it's going to be...
Because in their division, they got to play Dallas or Colorado second round.
That's going to be... So now let's get back to this style of play. What style of play do you favor more? The Winnipeg style or the Washington style? I'll put my hand up for the East.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I'm saying? That style of play, I think it'll carry more into the playoffs. And Winnipeg hasn't proven that their style of play can get them farther than anywhere but the regular season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then just because of the market, like all those other factors, they couldn't really add big at the deadline. They added a defenseman, they added a forward, but just nice little depth guys. No one that's going to really move the needle for them. You know what I mean?
Okay, so now I'm going to bring up something else here, and you tell me what you think because you've been dragging their dick in the dirt for a long time, and that's the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yes.
Okay. These guys are hot right now.
I agree.
And they've got experience, and Vasilevsky is suddenly looking like that guy again, okay? Now, look in the back end. Hedman, Radish, McDonough, Cernak, and Moser. I don't care who's playing forward. You got to try to get through those guys with Vasilevsky behind them. They're dangerous. Now, what you said they did before was salary cap, no draft picks, blah, blah, blah. So Tampa Bay's going for it right now. So if they don't get to the conference finals, I think Tampa Bay's fucked. And I'm going to tell you what.
Yeah.
They have to make. They're going. And
no
I like
first round
that.
picks in the next 3 years, and their prospect pool is already like what prospects do they have?
And the guys that they gave up, the age difference alone is killing me.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? That's why I'm saying a little bit scared about the Leafs. They gave up some young for old, but you see,
We still have some like good prospects though.
agreed. But the bottom line is, and I love hearing this, is that the Vegases, the Tampa Bays, the Floridas, they've already been there, so they got the luxury of saying, "Hey, it can be done. Let's go for it." But I mean, when does that peter out for you? Now, you said last year Tampa Bay's done because of all of that. They've made a couple of moves now. If Tampa Bay went to the finals, would you be surprised at the way they're playing right now?
Finals, yes. If they won a round or two, I wouldn't be too shocked.
If Tampa went to the finals, I wouldn't be shocked.
Really?
No, because look at the forwards. They got one of the best number one lines in the league with Gunsel, Point,
Point and Kucherov.
And then their second line is who is it? They got another bunch of nutbars there.
Paul Hagel.
Yeah, Hagel and Cirelli and those boys. And then they got those 5 gorillas on the back end with Vasilevsky in the net. Like this season, and John Cooper pulling the strings.
Yeah, best coach in the league.
I'm just saying that's why when I did my power rankings, I put them above above Toronto and Florida just for that factor. And the only team I could put above them,
I couldn't put them above Florida. Florida's won their last 5.
I think I hope Tampa Bay plays Florida.
Me too.
In the playoffs. I hope so much just to watch them beat the living fuck out of each other. You know what I mean? And like, who's going to come out of that alive? But I'm saying you got to give these teams credit. This playoffs are going there because how many teams have shown you they're going for it this year because they think it's wide open? Like, these teams are showing for it. Like, they have no regard for 2 years from now. No regard. They're giving up first-round picks for guys in their 30s. Some teams. I'm going, that's not how freaking Sam Pollock did back in the day.
Also, there was a lot more buyers than sellers this year, so naturally the prices are going to go up.
Agreed, but I don't know if it's worth it to do it sometimes. But if you got the luxury, that seems to be the word. You got the luxury to do it. But I'm not doing that, man. I'm going to hold on to a little bit of something. Now, I think Toronto's crafty. First of all, they gave up Minton to get Carlo. I think Carlo's the number one, way more important pick for you guys than this Loughton guy.
It's Lawton.
I think you got away with that because before Toronto made moves, in the last couple of days we were talking about off air, sometimes people say you got to make moves because the other team makes moves, and you don't necessarily have to do that.
Oh, I didn't even look at it from that perspective. I was just like, all year, what was I saying the Leafs needed? Number 3 center and a right-handed shot on D.
The D was great. To get that at the last second was amazing. And you got Carlo. Now, here's another thing you got to look about this guy. He's 28 years old. He's got 2 more years on his contract.
And we're getting him, I think Boston's retaining 15%, so it's like cap hit's like 3.5.
One step further. The mess that the Boston Bruins are right now, he's a plus defenseman.
There you go.
So add all that up on Toronto. Now, I wonder who it is going to sit away because they shipped Timmins out, though, didn't they?
Yes, he's in Pittsburgh now.
Yeah, so they got him out there, so they'll definitely be out there. And I think it's made him stronger for Toronto. And here's the other thing about it is last time I checked, this Carlo guy's no midget.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think he is the beneficiary of that. But
he's a big boy.
Huge boy. But like on every team, you make all these moves to do your thing, but who's going to win it for you? Eichel, Stone, etc. are going to win it in Vegas.
Yep.
Scheffler, Kyle Connor, Josh Morrison going to win it. Marner, Matthews, Nylander.
Oh, they got to be the guys. I agree.
They got to be the guys. This is just hope you have the support system to do it.
Exactly.
Last 20 games are going to be pretty good, but let's just discuss something else that just makes me sick, okay? The reason I love William Nylander is because what's his favorite saying? Nothing to see over here. No biggie. What's the issue? Yeah, the dispensary's down the street. I'm good. Okay. Now, look 1 week ago. 1 week ago, what were they talking about Toronto and this city? This is why I'm a Leaf fan. I guess I don't live in Montreal, so I probably have to park it a bit. Week ago, you guys are winning any way possible, coming from behind, winning in overtime. Stellar defense. You lose 2 games in a row, and holy shit, the hounds of hell have suddenly sprung from Hades. Like, what goes on in this city? Like, the bench.
Do you think the people have been that outraged?
after the Vegas game, because you know what the problem is this, you were banking points because you want to be ahead. About 3 times this year, you guys have puked up points that were, come on. Columbus was one, San Jose was one, and Anaheim. At home, not on the road. These were home, like those.
Anaheim.
Remember Dostal that Thursday night? Stood on his head that night? So that's 3 games, right? That's 3 points. Do you know how much 3 points means at this time of the year?
I know.
You know, and you got to beat who you're going to beat in front of you. So if I was the Toronto Maple Leafs, I wouldn't give a shit who you played in the first round. Let's just go out and kick some ass.
It's going to be a good team.
Yeah, no matter how it is. I just find it city, and you know, like this city is hockey crazy. You call it the Mecca, whatever what it is that sometimes I just feel like yelling out to Toronto. And I live in Etobicoke, and you live in Woodbridge. So, yeah, that cloud going by, oh, that's the bad Maple Leaf cloud going by today. That's why the weather's so bad. They got beat by Vegas last night. Did you see that cloud? Right over Etobicoke, right over Ford Nation. Can we move that away, please? Oh, no, not till they win another game. And you know what I mean? The pressure on these players, it's been that way for years, but sometimes I just think it's insane. In 1 week, you lose 2 games. San Jose game, come on. If you look at the Leafs schedule just after the Four Nation and shit, Vegas game was a trap. Everything about it was, oh shit, you guys got it. I expect them to show up tonight.
Oh, against Colorado, 100%.
But Colorado's going to be waiting for them too, and they're pissed that they got they're screwing with the start time again. Toronto's in town. Let's favor Toronto. All that other shit. But the swing in the city from Monday to Friday on this team was stunning. Like one of the craziest I've seen in a long time. You know what I mean? And nothing wrong with Austin Matthews, Toronto.
No.
Like what? Well, if Austin plays better. He's been what? Plus whatever. Checking the best forward in the league. He's on an 8-game point streak. He's one of the best 2-way centers in the league. And he's hit 4 goalposts and guys have made freaking highlight reel saves on the guy. Austin Matthews is just fine. If you don't like him, send him to Montreal.
Yeah, never. So I guess we could just get right into the trades.
Okay.
So Toronto got Scott Laughton, a 4th-round pick and a 6th-round pick from Philadelphia at half price. He's also signed for next season. And we traded a 2027 first-round pick and Nikita Grabenkin. He was a nice little story early on in the season, but had to do was for the right of the team.
So who gets the first-round picks of Toronto?
So Philly gets our first-round pick in 2 years.
Yep.
And then Boston gets our first-round pick next year, along with Fraser Minton and that 4th-round pick we got from Philly.
So they did give up a first-rounder for Carlo, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's okay. I like that.
He's got term, though, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and he's only 28, and he's plus.
Yeah.
That one I see, but the first-rounder and Minton. Oh. But
Minton, though, I can live with that because with Laughton here now, like that basically took away his roster spot next year, right?
I think the up in the kid is too much, but that's neither here nor there right now. Toronto's going for it right now, and the thing they did is like I see that makes more sense to me. And like what you were saying, there was a lot more buyers than there were sellers. So of course that artificially jacked the price up. But normally for a guy like Carlo, Minton and a first rounder, woo, that's expensive. But Toronto has to get to the conference finals or these trades mean shit.
I got to say, no, you got to win a cup.
Oh, even better. Milani calling it out. I'm saying if you guys get the conference finals, that's good. But if you don't, all these trades are just bullshit.
Oh, exactly.
That's what you got to remember.
Well, not really, because these guys are signed for next year, too.
Well, I hear this about the Leafs, too, and it's very good. When you think about it, they got 5 seasons defensemen that are signed for the next 2 years, some for 3. So that's like every team in the league would like to have that. So, like solidify their defense that way, which just means that the big 4 don't have to go anywhere either, even if you lose this year, because you can roll it again back next year.
And you presume Benoit is going to be back next year too.
Exactly, you know what I mean. So you guys should be in good shape. Anyway, some more about the trades.
So the Leafs also made a deal with Pittsburgh, sending Connor Dewar and Connor Timmins to Pittsburgh for a round 5 pick this year.
And who's the player they got?
Just a 5th-round pick.
Oh, just a 5th.
So that was pure like cap thing. I mean, I'm happy we got at least something out of it.
Yep.
And then we made a minor trade with Minnesota. But of course, the big news of the day, the biggest one for me at least, was Rantanen going to Dallas for, what's his name? Stankoven.
Yeah.
2 firsts and 2 thirds.
Wow.
And they signed Rantanen right after 8-year deal, $12 million per.
That's the wows of the wow. Now, here's the thing is, when we're talking about this is good for Dallas because all their guys are tied up for the next couple of years. And they're going to be on a high level, so those draft choices are going to be closer to 25 to 30 than top 5. So I get it. But there's another team there. Dallas has to go to the conference finals this year. That trade's a failure. Or they got to win the Stanley Cup in the next 2 years, or that too many assets. It's a huge gamble. But like you're saying, the sellers were freaking having a good time this year. You know what I'm saying?
With Rantanen, there was a rumor out there that the Leafs were trading Nyes for Rantanen, but I don't think that was ever on the table.
Come on.
I think Dallas wanted Nyes, but I think the Leafs made it pretty clear they didn't want to give up any roster players. So I think they were offering Cowan, Minton, and 2 firsts.
And you know what? They gave up 2 firsts. I get it. But I'm glad they didn't give up both prospects because sometimes you get in trouble giving up too many of those guys along the way. You know what I mean? Like everybody ends up like Chicago or everybody ends up like Pittsburgh. Eventually, when you do
LA had the fall down.
LA had the
Detroit had the fall down.
Okay, so look at you guys. You guys are what? Within 5 years of being the fall down?
I don't think so.
Well,
our guys are still in their primes.
That's what I'm saying. But 5 years from now, they'll be all pushing 35.
We still got prospects though that we can work with, and the best, arguably the best minor league development system in the league.
I'm giving you this. The balance that you guys are showing along the way is a balance like kind of Dallas is showing along the way, and they've been competitive. Somehow Tampa Bay has risen above it, and they've stayed there. Boston has finally had their crash. You know, like how many
Tampa Bay doesn't keep any of their first-round picks, though. That's the problem.
What did the guy say? Like, potential doesn't get me nothing when a guy scores 25 goals or whatever the statement was. Blew me away, which is like completely disrespect. But Tampa Bay could win it all this year. They're a hot team. They've been there before. And look at the core.
Yeah.
The core has been there before. John Cooper's been there before. That's a huge history in hockey says that's valuable.
Sure.
Okay? The Leafs haven't been there before.
No.
Okay, so the first round, Florida steals first place. Toronto plays
Tampa Bay.
And Tampa Bay's got the home advantage. Who you betting on?
No, Toronto's going to have home advantage.
You better hope they do. But, buddy, look at you guys aren't out of the woods here. Okay? First of all, Tampa Bay is only 1 point behind you. You're only 2. Okay, you got a game in hand on Florida, but you got to win it. Now, let's look at your schedule. You got this West Coast trip, and you got one more to make.
Yep.
Oh, that's no cakewalk.
Leafs do very well against the West, though.
They seem to be doing it, but coming home here, there's no guarantee that they're going to be. They should try to win the division.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So, because okay, so if they're gonna get in the first round,
we got off track. I want to go back to Dallas here a little bit.
Whoa.
The depth on this team is astounding, especially if Sagan comes back for playoffs.
Oh. I like Dallas a lot.
The only thing about that team is, do you trust Cody Ceci on the second pair?
Why not?
Have you seen him play?
Well, doesn't he play with Heiskanen sometimes?
Yeah, but he can be a little bit of a turnover machine, though.
So put him in the right situation, he's going to be fine. Okay, don't they have, who's the other guy? They got Hurley.
If I'm other teams, I'm trying to trap him into making a dumb turnover.
Isn't that what they used to do to what's his name on Toronto all the time?
Cody Ceci when he was with the Leafs.
You know what I'm saying? That kind of deal. I think Dallas could go to the finals. I'm smelling a.
I think Dallas finals too.
Dallas and Vegas in the conference finals.
Ooh, probably.
If it plays out that way, we don't know.
Unless Edmonton pulls something out of their ass again.
Which they could, but that's going to be a battle because right now Dallas can't go nowhere. They're in nowhere land. So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to have to play Colorado in the first round, which is going to be a dogfight unto its own.
On Colorado loaded up too. They got Brock Nelson. And they made the trade to get Charlie Coyle for Middlestat.
Yes, that was a good move. And the greatest thing that Colorado did this year, and it cannot be underestimated, which was a bold move, but the management is very progressive. First of all, when the agent did something and Rantanen and left town.
Yeah.
Everybody went, oh my God, how can you do that? But they seem to be solidified. But what Dallas already proved what they were going for, when they had that goalie issue early in the year, what did they do? Ex-nayed the goalies, we got Blackwood, what's his name, and where have they been since?
Colorado?
Yeah. Like that's the boldest move of the year. Like you came out of camp and you said, okay, let's see what we got with our goaltenders. What, it took them 20 games Those guys are nowhere to be found. Where are they? 2 new goalies, and where they are, they're in contention.
Yep.
Now, imagine if they had some of those points back from those first 20 games when they couldn't have a goaltender stop a beach ball.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Colorado, Georgiev couldn't play every game against the Leafs. That's the only team he seems to show up against.
Yes, he's still there, though, isn't he?
They traded him to San Jose.
Yeah, he's out of San Jose, yeah. But this Blackwood guy's been a revelation.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? As well as he's played. And their defense has been solid, so Colorado could be around. Any more on the trades there?
Well, Lightning got Yanni Gordon, Oliver Bjorkstrand, 2 very good pickups. Bjorkstrand's got another year left. Gord's going to be a free agent at the end of the season.
And they gave up 2 first-rounders. That's the part I'm talking about. That's so weird. And these guys are over 30.
I know. And one of them is just a pure rental, presumably.
Exactly. And I'm going, but, if they win the Stanley Cup, it's back to what you said.
Exactly.
Who cares? Who cares? We won the Cup.
But
I don't know. I think it's
doubts.
playing with fire there.
Yeah,
I do too, especially for the future. You're going to be Pittsburgh or you're going to be Chicago real soon.
Yeah, because this offseason we're like, Tampa Bay finally got their shit together with their draft picks, and they're right back in trouble.
There again. Right. But they've got a team that all these guys are pretty well, except for Gord. I think it is. He'll be the free agent. But most of these guys are all signed in anyway.
Yeah.
So they're pretty solid. Like the Points, the Kucherovs, the Sisters, they're all under contract. So they don't have a draft choice till 28, right? 28. So they're going to be competitive next year, 26. They'll probably be competitive in 27. So if they're looking at a long-term thing, they're probably going, okay, we're all right.
Yeah, but if they're competitive next year, they're going to want to trade to add at the deadline again.
So they're going to be the Lakers.
Yeah.
Here's our 30-31 first-round draft choice.
Yeah, exactly.
That's absolutely mad.
It's insane.
Yep.
Michael Bunting got traded to the Nashville Predators for Luke Shen and Thomas Novak, and then Shen later got flipped over to Nashville, as did Brandon Tanev.
Yes.
Good pickups there, but again, it's like
a little too late.
I know too late, but just like they're more bottom of the lineup guys. They're not going to be the big needle movers.
Apparently Toronto had Tanev on theirs. They had talks about Tanev too, didn't they?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, they were in there. Something to do with salary cap and players that they wanted.
He's got a lot of contract left. I think that would have been the concern.
Yep, and he's not bad, but he's a 5th or 6th guy. He's not a top 4, is he? Yeah, maybe a 4.
He's a 4th liner.
Yeah,
in my books.
He's not a depth type player.
What'd you make of this bizarre Dylan Cousins, Josh Norris trade that Ottawa and Buffalo picked? That they did this week.
I'm still trying to make sense of it.
I don't get how Ottawa got the 2nd round pick from Buffalo.
That's what I'm saying.
Because Norris, he's got goal scoring touch, but he's always hurt.
I was just going to say he hasn't showed me enough. Now
he scored 20 goals already this year.
That's true too.
But
that's
I know. I feel like they fleeced Buffalo.
What's that?
They fleeced Buffalo.
I was surprised too, and Buffalo is the ones that needed that. They're the ones that are going to need the draft choice. I don't know what's happening in Buffalo anyway. You look at the team;
they're a mess.
But they got pieces, which I don't.
That's been the story of that team for the last 10 years. You look at the players that have come in and out there. How'd this team not make it to a conference final already?
Okay, we've got that. So
let alone they never make the playoffs. Never even
the owner.
Oh, definitely the owner. The Pagula's
impatience.
Yeah, the little too hands on is the rumor.
But the Bills are doing just fine.
Maybe they're less hands on with the Bills.
Maybe, I don't know, but it just seems weird. And just look at the players around the league that came through Buffalo, and you go, "Oh, okay.
Yep.
Sorry about your luck."
No kidding.
Okay, continue. I don't get that trade either. When I seen the draft choice go in there, that's when I see. When you add on those draft choices, I'm going, what? Did he give you an extra scotch at the table at that time? You know what I mean? Sometimes when you go, why did they add on? What did they do to do that? Is it going to make a deal down the road, something to do with salary cap? I never know, because a couple of these trades, with the extra first rounders, and now Ratinen going for that kind of stuff, whoa, that's a lot of assets to get there. But like I say, conference finals or the finals or those trades are complete. You set yourself back.
Ottawa also added Fabian Zetterlund, a guy who we've been pumping his tires these last few weeks. He was Celebrini's line mate there in San Jose.
Point well taken.
Moving on to greener pastures.
I'm going to put it this way. Do you think Ottawa's going to make the playoffs?
I think so.
Okay. I'm not going to say nothing.
Especially with these pickups?
Okay,
It's a major help.
Okay, so we'll talk about a few other things because now that gives me a second to do something that I'm very happy with. Okay, I've already resigned to the fact that I don't think that my team is going to make the playoffs. So I'm not suddenly going to jump back on and say we've been so hot we're going to get there because we are only 1 point out. But the fact is we do have a shot at the playoffs. One thing that we did, and we were in a very precarious situation, and I want to thank Ken Hughes for this. We didn't give up anything. We didn't get anything either. But with the age of our players and the way that we're building our team, isn't it better that we there's another ant.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we killed them already. I don't even know where it's coming from. But in any event, I'm glad that Montreal didn't make any moves because the guys that we've got written salaried in and the fact that we re-signed Evans told the team that we cared. Another thing that they said is they could have traded Savard, but they weren't going to get what they wanted for him, and they said, let's keep him here to give the young guys saying, hey, listen, we're not giving up on you. Like, if they had traded Savard, we think that would have probably changed the mojo in the dressing room just a bit, don't you think?
Yeah, because of his veteran presence, right?
And then you're saying, okay, well, you don't think we can do it. Well, we're right there with 5 games again, but I'm not going to go on this roller coaster anymore because the last time we went on this heater and we looked good, what do? Turn around and fucking got hit by a bus. So I don't know. I would love, if the Habs make the playoffs, I will be doing cartwheels. You'll hear me screaming from the highest heaven, and we got a long way to go.
I'm just worried you guys are in a little bit of no man's land right now for this season.
That's exactly where we are. But my point being is I'm glad we didn't try to make any drastic moves or give up because people were sniffing around, you know. They were sniffing around for Heineman. His name came up. Armia came up, but Armia wanted to stay, so they didn't get enough for him. Who else were they asking about? They were asking
Evans
about
before the
The
contract.
thing. Everyone took a look at Matheson, but the reason Matheson didn't move because Montreal said they're not paying any of his contract. So I think even Elliot Freeman brought that up. I heard him saying, he's like, why is Matheson not moving? Because of that horrendous contract. And nobody was Montreal,
no one wants to eat the whole thing.
And Montreal said they're not, you take them all or nothing. So I like their strategy so far, especially the improvement with the team, and we still got a shot at making the playoffs. Even now,
next season, if you're in this position again,
go for it.
Well, hold on. I was going to say trade Matheson.
Oh no, we'll get him then. We'll be happy to get rid of Matheson. He's such an up and down guy. He shows offensive skills and then makes some of the most atrocious in his own zone mistakes that a veteran of his scale shouldn't be making.
Remember, I told you the Florida fans celebrated when he was gone. The Pittsburgh fans celebrated when he was gone.
He just does shit that you just go. And what is he's 32? He's 8 years in the league. He's making big money. And notice they took him away from Houston.
Lane Hudson, yeah.
Lane Hudson. Notice.
You can't have those two together. I always thought that was outrageous that they were a pair.
And then finally they split him up, and it's looking a little bit better. And they've got they've put Matheson with that Collier guy sometimes, so it makes it better. That guy was a good pickup. He's a good two-way guy. He's young. He's got term. We should be okay with that. But that's enough about the Habs. My point is just this. Sometimes it's better to do nothing, and your trajectory will still stay the same. You know what I mean? You don't have to make a move. Because people buzzed around Montreal, but I like the fact that Hughes said no, and he wasn't going to give up this unless you give him this. So he probably highballed a few people on some players.
I imagine.
You know, like asked for too much. And what are you going to get for Savard anyway? Like after this year, I think he's going to be pretty well retired. Might be a sixth player somewhere because he's done a free agent after this year, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, so no. He's slowed down. Great in the dressing room, and he's only playing, 14 minutes a night anyway.
Yeah, he's a third pair guy at this point in his career.
So, he doesn't make mistakes, though.
I wonder if he's going to go to like a San Jose or something next year.
Mentor those guys. Yeah, it's a possibility. That's going to look at. But there's a couple other, we haven't talked about the other trades.
Yeah, so Trent Frederick and Wallman went to the Oilers, so basically replacements. Wallman is very much like a Broberg replacement from last year. I know they wanted a guy that could be a haul away. It didn't seem like they quite got one. Agreed. Although Frederick's going to be a nice little piece for them. Riley Smith back in Vegas, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Red Wings making a bizarre trade yesterday, getting Mrazek and Craig Smith from Chicago for Joe Veleno. And I know Veleno had limited upside. He was going to be a bottom six guy, whatever. But why are you getting another goalie, another mediocre goalie at that? The fans are turning on Yzerman in Detroit. I don't know if you know that.
They're starting to yell a little louder than usual for a guy of his stature. They go, what are you doing now? They got 3 guys like this now?
I believe they have like 7 goalies on contract now.
That's going to be good in the offseason.
It's
Get
bizarre.
some pieces. You know what I mean? Because everyone's looking for goaltenders all the time.
I think, like, well,
But
Mrazek's a free agent, I believe.
And you know what? And what did Detroit get to improve their lineup good enough to make sure they're going to make the playoffs?
Nothing.
That's what I'm saying. So I thought they
bizarre.
would make a move that they would go. Look at their rate there.
Yeah,
they
no
are
kidding.
right there. But you know what I mean? Then everyone can say, well, they're the same place as the Montreal Canadiens. And what does that get you? Because the other one thing you got to realize, too, is that Ottawa's got 2 games in hand on them.
Mm-hmm.
The wild card in all of
Actually, Mrazek's on for another year.
Oh, is he?
Yep. At 4.25, which is a little rich.
I think they'll end up using him to get lower draft picks for teams that are screaming for goalies when you start the season next year.
You might have to eat some of that contract.
So any more about trades? We haven't got to the one.
Hold on. I had... So you want to just get to Florida?
Yep.
Florida
The
shocks.
vermin. They, you know what? Florida collects vermin anyway. Rats always go close to the water, don't they? Get some
One of
of
their
the
mascots is a rat.
Yeah, okay. Then he'll fit right in.
He's got to do a picture with the rat.
He's got 100% do that. Now, what's going on with Boston? Now, they've completely bottomed out.
Well, we should say Brad Marchand was traded to Florida for a
You
second
didn't know
round
what we were
pick.
talking about? We were talking about vermin, rats, and scum.
Our listeners might not know.
Oh, right. They should know by now. I think Marchand's at the end of his career anyway. I think it was a smart
Well,
move.
he's 36.
Yeah, okay, and look at the way he played in Canada. He's just lost a step. He's played tons and tons of high-level minutes.
Yep.
He's not that big of a guy. I just think that the engines wore out and it's done. Now, he might give you that odd goal like he did for the Four Nations. Like, what did he do? He got that one goal at the one time. Did we ever see him in the rest of the tournament? No. So he's going to be like that in Florida. They're just taking a chance. And then guess what? He's a rental.
Yep, pure rental.
He's a pure rental. And I don't think that the Florida's going to re-sign him. They're just hoping for some extra mud so when they play against Tampa Bay or Toronto.
He's probably, what do you think he's going to fit in the lineup?
Third line. Be a
Third
third
line.
line. He's going to go third line. They can't touch those top 6. Come on. That's how they got there.
I think they want to try him with Bennett. They're going to give him a shot there. Come on.
Okay. That's too much on the line. Who's going to generate the offense? See, Marchand's a give-and-go guy.
Well,
Bennett's
they
not
got
a
options
give-and-go
there.
player.
They can put him with like Verhaeghe or something on that line too.
I think he'll drop down to the third line depth because I think their top 6 is pretty solid. You know what I mean? Why would you mess with that? That's my thinking. But then again, he'll get power play time. They'll switch it up when they need it. He'll be out there with Barbashev a couple times, whatever. You know, it's going to be there. But I really think he's at the end of the rope. Now, I don't want to say this because it sounded like I'm not a Marchand guy. So anything I'm going to say that people are going to take with a grain of salt. But he looks like one of those players that's the end of his career. He's got a great career. He's probably going to end up in the Hall of Fame. He's got a ring.
He is going to be in the Hall of Fame. Okay. Come on.
Yeah, in the section that says vermin. Okay, we know that. But, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just like the engine has come to an end with the guy. That's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And he's had an okay season, but he hasn't had a great season.
Not great.
And he's been banged up a bit. And sometimes he's had to sit a little longer because of the injury. So I just think that Florida took a flyer on him. What did they give up for him?
Second round pick.
Yeah, that's not bad for Marchand if he gets you into the finals one more time.
Apparently he really had to fight to get to Florida.
What's that?
He was like he was the one really pushing to go to Florida because I think Vegas was the other team in there.
Yeah, and he wanted to stay in the East, which I give respect for Boston because they gave him that because they could have traded him anywhere.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And they didn't. They gave respect for the guy. But I really believe this is the end of the Marchand career. He had a great career. I will respect that. The rest of the time, I'll stick to my other rhetoric when I talk about him. And the less I have to talk about him, the better I am. And you know what? I'll probably meet the guy in a bar one day and we'll have beers and laugh.
There you go.
Yeah. Like someone says that, you'd be very surprised what you find off the ice. That's why you just hate what they do in context of what they're doing in the sport because you really don't know them as human beings.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So can we go around the league about a couple other things that have got my interest?
Sure. Then we'll get to our picks.
Okay. First of all, this Jack Hughes guy has really weirded me out. I thought this is his breakout year. Remember he was doing great last year? Then he got hurt.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Then he was having a nice run last year.
No, the last year he spent this year he was having a great run, I would say, early on.
His numbers are almost exactly the same from this year and last year. Yeah. Exactly same games, everything. He's going to miss 20 games again. He played what did he play this year? 62?
Yeah, they're about.
Okay, and last year he played 63. There's 1 point difference in his production. The only thing is he's much more of a plus player last year. He's a little bit more on the minus side. So in my opinion, Jersey is done.
They made a couple pickups, though.
But they don't have that scoring up front that they did. They weren't going to be a team that's going to blow you out of the water anyway. You take away a Jack Hughes and So I think that they better be very careful because they have banked enough points.
Yeah.
Because they're 72, so that puts them up on 5-6 points on most people. But they can't afford to have a 3-game losing streak or anything, or suddenly they'll be falling from the playoffs. And I think that's a realistic possibility because if you've seen how they've been playing lately, they're 4-6. And they've been around 4-6 for about the last 20 games. So,
Markstrom's back, though, isn't he?
What's that?
Markstrom.
Yes, he's supposed to be back, coming back next year. Now, the big thing about them is, and it's not going to fall off the cliff anytime lately, is they're a plus 26 goal differential team. So they do know how to play hockey. So they should be strong enough that they should be able to struggle to go into the playoffs. But I think Jack Hughes is such a major freaking loss.
Oh, yeah.
That I don't know how they're going to come back for it, no matter who they're going to pick up. But it just also tells you about what's the future of this guy. Is he that brittle? He's great in the open ice, but when things get dirty, he don't know how to get dirty. He's going to have to get bigger. Both of his brothers are craftier and bigger. Mm-hmm. He's the smallest of the three, unfortunately. But he's got skills that nobody else in the league's got. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm starting to wonder. I hope, Jack Hughes, I hope you have a speedy recovery. You're back in the league. You're a great talent. I love the way you play hockey. I love watching you play. I hope this isn't a sign of something in your career where you're not going to end up being like the Mike Trout of freaking of hockey. You know what I mean?
One thing to consider as well, Columbus is 4 points back of them with 2 games in hand.
That's what I'm saying. And Columbus is playing much better. Now, people say Columbus is a scoring team. That must be up and down their lineup because I don't see no great scoring in that team. But when you look at it, they've
scored more goals than Carolina this year.
That's what I'm saying. When you actually look at it, because I'm going, who does the scoring? But I didn't realize they're the most balanced 4-line scoring team. Like they get scoring from all lines, probably more than any team in the league.
Yeah, they already have 420 goal scorers. Fantilli's at 18, so he's like right around the corner. Van Riemsdyk's at 14. Monahan's at 14.
Do they have 420 goal scorers, you said?
Already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That caught me off guard. And they were saying it's their back end that gets them, but their defense looked pretty good. I was bragging about that a couple of weeks ago. I thought it was their back end that was going to take them through the door. Then you look at the metrics and you go, well, they score a lot of goals.
Yep.
Huh. Kind of caught me off guard there. But they're up on the plus differential too. Now, there's only one, like we already talked about it, with all these trades and giving up your draft choices, you are going to have to turn around, and you all end up being in that place where Chicago and Pittsburgh are now. Finally, Boston is there. But then as you get these new guys and you start looking at the first couple, 3 years and guys that have been drafted, say the top 5 players in the league, then you got to start talking about these bridge contracts and shit and what's going on. So I'm trying to find a good way to talk about this because I haven't been super positive about Connor Bedard. Okay? Guy hasn't got a point in his last 7 games. You're a phenom. You're supposed to be a generational player. I don't give a shit who you're playing with. You're supposed to be able to get 1 point in the last 7 games. Okay? Now, why am I bringing him up? This year in June is the first year that you can offer Connor Bedard a contract extension. What would you do? Would you give him 10 years for...
8 years, yeah. That's the max.
Okay, 8 years for $80 million right now?
Yeah, I'd lock him in.
Would you think he will take it?
Probably not.
It's a scary proposition in this way. There's never been a guy of this caliber that's a generational player, and you go back and you check them all, that has, like, this is his 3rd year, right?
Second
year, okay. The end of his 2nd year, what promise has he shown to be that type of a player? Even when guys are playing on the shittiest teams ever, they seem to be able to show a little something. Look at Celebrini when he played against Toronto the other night. Mm-hmm. Did you not notice Mr. Celebrini?
I notice Bedard too when he plays, to be fair.
I don't know if I notice him enough because I find, like I'm saying, he stays on the perimeter too much. He's going to have to get stronger. He's going to have to fight his way to the front of the net. Mr. Milani, 7 games without a point. You're a generational player. Go back when McDavid...
How many line combinations has he been part of again?
I don't give a damn.
I think that is important, though.
If I was on his line, I should be able to get him an assist. You got to be something. If you're a player, because I'm not, you're supposed to be the player that makes the difference. He ain't making.
Yeah, but that's not hockey though. It's not a one-man team.
I'm not saying that it's a one-man team. I'm just saying every once in a while you got to give me an assist or some shit. He's showing you nothing. He's been invisible.
Chicago is very bad.
A disaster. So what, is he invisible for the next 2 years? My take on it is this.
And they just trade away their best defenseman.
Well, he wanted to leave town anyway.
Either way, he's gone.
No, but my point is this. It makes it very interesting that teams are building. Like we were saying about your draft choices. Who do you keep? What do you see in the future? I'm going to be very interested to see what happens in June. Are they going to offer the guy? You'd offer him, wouldn't you not? I'd offer him right now. 8 years, $80 million. Okay? You haven't done shit. You got generational money for the rest of your life. However, it ended up being the Asuna contract of the NHL. That's a chance you got to take. What would you do? What would you do if you're Chicago? Chicago's going to
show
offer
him the
that.
money. Yeah,
you're going to do
it's
that.
Whether or not Bedard takes it is the big question.
I say he takes half the money. Give me 4 years for $10 million. 40. I'd take 4 years.
Like a bridge deal.
I'd take a bridge deal. The guy's got too many skills. We're just not seeing him. And I've seen way back in the day.
If I was Bedard, I'd want like 3 years, like 2 or 3 years. I'd want a lower bridge deal.
I would just take him to the bridge deal because after 6, you can become a free agent, go wherever you want.
7 years, yeah.
7 years? I'd take 4 or 5 and say,
go right to UFA?
And go right to UFA. If you're going to be that good of a player, you're generational, you're going to gamble on yourself?
Yeah.
I would do it that way. Because, yes, come on. We have seen him. The guy's got skills. He's a good hockey player. The skating alone, come on. It's not freaking adding up. Took Eichel about 4 years to be the superstar he is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'll give it a benefit of a doubt. But the thing about Bedard is the way he came into the league. The league he was touted. Okay? Stamkos did better than him, and he's number 1 pick overall. Okay?
Well, Stamkos had a really rough rookie season. Let's not forget that.
But by the end of his second season, he was showing promise.
I get. He also was playing with Martin St. Louis, setting him up.
Okay, whatever the case may be,
you could argue St. Louis was really the straw that stirred the drink there.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
Now, there we go then.
At the time, okay, but at the same time, oh no, I can't take this right now. I can't take it. It's my body.
We'll get to our picks.
Yeah, we'll get to our picks. Yeah.
All right. So first up, New York Rangers at the Ottawa Senators. I'm going to take Ottawa at home.
I will go with Ottawa. Why am I so skeptical?
Because New York's fighting for them for that last playoff spot. And they've looked pretty good since that JT Miller trade.
Yes.
Seattle at Philadelphia. I'm going to take Philly to take it at home.
No, I'm going to take that back. I'm taking New York.
Okay.
I'm taking New York. Because Kachuk got all sad that he lost his buddy, so that might screw up the dressing room for a game.
Okay.
All right.
Seattle at Philly. I'm going to take Philly at home.
Me too. Boston at Tampa? Come on.
I'm going to take Tampa.
Come on. Buffalo at Florida? Come on.
We're both on Florida. Toronto at Colorado. I'm on the Leafs.
I'm taking Colorado.
Okay.
Just so I can hear more crackling in the city of Toronto.
Montreal at Calgary. I'm going to take Calgary to defend home ice.
I'm taking Montreal to steal it on a Saturday night in Calgary with all the Hab fans in the house.
Okay. Chicago at Nashville. I'm going to take Nashville.
I'm taking Nashville too.
Fresh face Michael Bunting.
Yes.
He's going to score a goal. I'm calling it.
Ooh.
St. Louis, LA. I'm going to take LA at home.
I will too because LA's got to keep a distance and then kill some of that St. Louis momentum.
Dallas at Edmonton. I'm going to take Dallas to steal this one on the road.
Wow. That's a tough pick. I'm taking Edmonton.
Okay.
They need to win. And then I'm talking about, even though, Patrick, I thought you'd do much better with the Islanders, but this is all you got. I'm taking Celebrini for the late game in San Jose.
I'm going to take the Islanders on the road.
Should be interesting either way.
Should be very interesting. Both teams got rid of some stuff at the deadline, so.
We shall see.
All right, best of luck to you, sir.
Yes, 100%.
That will take us to our closing of the show. Hold on a sec.
Yeah, we're all looking at games this week and what we're going to be interested in. I'm going to do no sports. I'm lying. I'm going to say for the rest of the afternoon, I'm going to do no sports, but I'm lying. There's too many college games on. I got to take a look at it and that. But if you're going to ask me what games I'm looking for this week, I'll wait till the tourney draws come.
Okay.
And then I'll text you and say, watch this game, watch this game, watch this game. It's very interesting to see how it's going to unfold in March Madness, my favorite sporting event of the year.
It's Toronto, Colorado for me tonight.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a game. I'll be watching it for sure.
And we have a trivia question this week.
Thank you, Steven. How are we doing?
The trade deadline has come and gone with a total of 29 trades made yesterday. Which two seasons set the record for the most trades on trade deadline day, and how many trades were made?
Okay, I'm going to make the guess that the trades were 41. I'll be within 2 of the guess that it's within 41. I will say it's 2003.
So I remember, I forgot what year it was exactly. It was either 2011, 2012, one of those 2 years.
2011. I think
2011, there was like, they had a lot of trades. They were all kind of like whatever trades, though. I want to say like it got to like close to 50, the number, like 47.
Okay.
The other year, I have no idea.
I'm going to say 2001 or 2011 because something in my brain says it's in the 2000s, but I don't.
I'll say 2002.
Okay, so what are you saying? How many?
2011 and 2002, and for that 2011 one, I want to say it was like 47 or 48 trades.
I'm staying at 41.
I'll say, you know what? I'll go 49.
Okay.
I remember being stupid. All right, so the answer is 2020 and 2022. We're both off, and it was only 32.
Only 32?
Yeah.
I thought one had near 40.
I thought so, too.
Okay, so
I thought one got stupid.
Okay, we'll put that down. We do have no idea about how many trades are on trade days. Okay, we are short by a mile. Okay, we got that down. Want to do a big shout out to my boys in Zeppology who I'm going down to see at the Rock Pile tonight. I heard there's a couple other Zeppelin entities that are floating around the city right now. No, people. Go see Zeppology, get over with. You'll know it. That's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, if you know what I mean.
And I have a message here from Radhika. Oh. She wants you to know that she's also left-handed, and she finds it really hard translating guitar tabs.
Oh, girlfriend. That means we're part dyslexic, too. I have trouble on that. I don't know what to tell you. So she's playing guitar left-handed?
Well, she is left-handed, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I look at it backwards, too. I'm getting better at it. Like everyone says, why don't you read tab? Tab looks funny to me, and when I go to my guitar, I've never had someone sit down with me, with you to have to do it. I'm going to tell you this, though. If you are interested in playing guitar, let me know, because I will give Andrew a guitar to take with me right now. All you have to say is you want a guitar. I've got 3 acoustics here, and one of them I'm not even using. It's a Fender. It's in very good shape, and it's great to learn on.
All right, I will let her know.
Definitely. She's a lefty, eh? So she knows our dilemma.
Anything else you want to add for this week?
I think that Stanley's been pretty cool for the day for the most part. The people, you don't understand when Mr. Milani comes into the Chaos House, he pretty well gets mugged.
He jumps me at the door.
He pretty well mugs him, and that goes on for about the first 10 or 15 minutes, and then Stanley chills out till it's time for his walk, and everything's going to be okay.
What a good boy.
Definitely. Anything else you got going on this week that should be interesting?
Nothing really too crazy. Just excited about the game tonight. Going to watch that with my mom.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Milani family. Good luck with the Leafs. I don't mean to sound that negative about them. It's just that I don't cheer for them.
And I kept things pretty positive about the Habs. So.
Okay, here we go. We'll just hope it's a good thing. In any event, once again, we want to thank all the listeners that are going out there. There are some people who have told me they have hit the like button. They like what we're doing. Some of the subjects, they go, why do you talk about that? And I said, because we're Toronto-centric and we want to cover the highest level of competition. What?
Well, like what do people have?
They're getting used to our F1.
Oh.
A lot of people have that F1. You know what I mean?
Get used to it, people. It's not stopping anytime soon.
Thank you very much. That's what I'm saying. One of the questions is because I've become such a
F1 junkie?
Yeah, like that. Now that I figured it out and I know all the minutiae, I talk about it. Like I have a few people, including my son. God, what the hell? F1? I go, it's cool. It's cool shit. If you're talking about the highest level of competition.
Absolutely.
Okay, then. I guess that's it for the week.
We'll get out of here. We'll leave you guys alone. Thank you so much for listening. Give us a like. Give us a shout out. We very much appreciate it. I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name is Cruz.
What
and
do we do? We keep the vibe
Vibe alive. Thank you.
You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.